A very good afternoon and welcome to Revo Fitness Stadium, Claremont, in the leafy green suburbs of Western Australia. Today it is OPTUS WAFL Round 5 action for season 2021, and what a game we've got in store for you this afternoon. Claremont Tigers currently sitting in the top two and are being labelled rather as contenders to go one step further in season 2021, and they're tackling the West Perth Falcons today. Perfect conditions, as you can see. Both teams commencing their warm-ups. West Perth to the left of screen, and Claremont have just fought their way literally onto the ground. Second meet six today. Claremont undefeated, 3-0, 24-point win over Swan District, 16 points over the Bulldogs, gaining that revenge for that loss in the 2020 season decider, and taking care of a pretty lacklustre Perth Demons outfit by 32 points back in round 3. It's great to have local football back after the imposed lockdown last week. As you can see on screen now, the West Perth team without a key player in Antonio, who's out today, provided 5 goals. We'll chat with that later in this afternoon's preview. But West Perth in patchy form and currently sitting 6th. It's a small sample size of the season so far. A 31-point loss to the Bulldogs in round 1. And then a win over the West Coast Eagles by 78 points, and then a one-kick loss, just going down by 3 points against Subiaco. Matt Chechen's here calling all the action, and on the other side of the break, Luke Worthington, my co-commentator, will join us previewing round 5. It is the Tigers and Falcons. We'll be right back.
Shutterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shutterguard.com.au.
Welcome back to Revo Fitness Stadium here in Claremont. The Tigers, the home team, commencing their warm-ups today, looking to maintain their undefeated start to the OPTUS WAFL season 2021. Matt Chechen's calling all the action, courtesy of Front Row Screens, and my co-commentator today, Luke Worthington. A very good afternoon to you, Luke.
Good afternoon, great to be here. It should be a good matchup today. A lot to play for these two teams.
So let's have a look at the home team first of all, the Claremont Tigers. Rolls-Royce midfield. Hardesty has been in wonderful form, as has Martinez. Ryan Lynn, the season campaigner, in the back pocket there. Anthony Davis will line up at full-back this afternoon. Mountford, former North Melbourne listed player, playing out on the wing. Jai Bolton, a 2-time Sandover medal winner in the middle of the ground. Pretty strong lineup. Kane Mitchell as well, a handy player, former Sandover medalist to have in the forward pocket as well. But Claremont have made the ideal start to season 2021.
Yeah, really packed team that we have here for Claremont. There's threats all over the ground. You can see at the top of the screen with Mitchell, former Port Adelaide player, really strong start to the lineup as you go down through Mountford. And Bolton, no introduction needed on him. Lachlan Martinez also having a fantastic season. Never dropped under 28 disposals this year, but only averages 18 in his 41 games of league.
And Bailey Rogers, keep our eye on him today, the number 3. Previously an attacking halfback, now playing on the wing and named on the ball this afternoon. So had 9 marks in that win over Perth just 2 weeks ago, and he'll feature prominently today. Let's have a look at the visitors. And the West Perth Falcons, who without a big name in their lineup this afternoon, in Mitchell Antonio. He's contributed 5 goals so far in season 2021. The big focal point in defence will be Keitel, last season's Bernie Naylor medalist and currently leading the goal kicking charts this season so far, Luke.
Yeah, really not the brand names on the West Perth side that Claremont have, but a really strong lineup all around, starting with Aaron Black. You see him at around the top of the screen. And he, 4-time best and fairest, Sandover winner. Really good start to the lineup there as you go down the lineup, and you can see Manzoni sitting in the middle there. Going to be a really interesting ruck battle with Benjamin Delaporte facing up against the Claremont ruckman in Eastland today.
Just going back to Aaron Black, how's this for a number? Game 202, 5 times Luke has had 40 or more disposals in the WAFL on separate occasions, and 16 times he's had 35 touches or more. So he's a ball magnet. Can be handball happy at times, but will win the ball around the coalface.
2 of those 35 pluses this year as well.
Exactly.
Round 1 and 2.
All right, so a potent forward line for West Perth. How will the Tigers stand up? And might have a look at our forecast for this afternoon. As you can see, the ground bathed in sunshine at the moment.
Perfect conditions, I
yeah,
would say. Hard to see any wind.
So thanks to Shutter Guard, mostly sunny, 29 degrees and 18 kilometre per hour wind. So not sure if you can see that out on the ground at the moment. And, I don't think there's any real goal advantage at the moment. Generally the breeze might come in a bit later in the afternoon. But who's your tip today, Luke? I mean, 2 pretty evenly matched teams despite how both teams sit on the ladder at this stage.
I would be backing Claremont in these conditions against this Falcons side. Obviously, with a couple of big outs, they're not going to go down easily. These 2 teams have had some great games in the past. Claremont really do have the firepower to try and overrun this team, so it's going to be about hanging into West Perth and getting in front of you.
So the last meeting was back in round 8 in season 2020, and it was the Tigers by 31 points in that contest, 10-12, 72 to 5, 11, 41. All time, it is fair to say that West Perth have the edge over the Tigers, 273 played, and West Perth registering 160 wins out of those games. Luke, both game styles for these teams, they're high kick team, particularly Claremont, the most kicks in the WAFL. They play a bit more of a direct brand than the marking West Perth team, averaging 22 disposals per goal. So the Tigers, as we mentioned, they've got that Rolls Royce midfield, will look to pump the ball inside 50, whereas West Perth are a high kick mark team. They're second in kicks and first in marks.
Yeah, Claremont are really going to be trying to handball it down the wing, move it through the corridor as much as they possibly can, and West Perth are going to be under a lot of pressure to try and stop that. If they can hold the ball, keep the momentum, and slowly work it up the field to move it inside 50 and get it down low into the danger areas for their forwards, they should be fine.
Interesting stat for our viewers, West Perth 8th in the competition. That's putting them in the bottom 3 for inside 50s, but they have the best efficiency at converting with under 3 inside 50 entries per goal. So they are potent when the ball gets inside 50. And if they can almost break even or edge that midfield control this afternoon, they're going to cause plenty of headaches. Well, 6 of the top 10 ball winners in the competition will lock horns today. Jai Bolton second in disposals, Rogers in 8th, and Martinez just clinging on in 9th. And they're taking on Manzoni, Black and Nelson. So some of the best ball winners and users on display this afternoon, as we see Jake Patmore and the number 19 of Thomas Baldwin from Royals down in Albany. The Great Southern Football League produced some amazing players down in that part of the world. Jeremy Mitch McGovern, the North Albany Roos, and look at Jordan Clark there at Railway. So Michael Gardner as well from that club in Royals. So a good breeding ground for players, and you'll see that on offer this afternoon for Claremont. As we see,
Bit going on early.
yeah, a bit of push and shove out on the ground. Not really hit out dominant ruckman either.
No,
neither of teams.
Neither of the two.
It doesn't
are.
matter when you can shark the ball.
Exactly, and it's going to be all about the contested possession. We can see the ruck matchup, maybe even going 50-50, and it's going to be about the crumbing the ball, contested possessions, and that's where Claremont have the advantage, possibly, looking at the lineup. So it'll be interesting to see how West Perth combat that.
So West Perth will be kicking to the left of your screen, to the high-rise flats. Claremont, the home team, navy blue jumpers and the gold, will be kicking to the railway end of the ground to your right. Aaron Black and Declan Mountford going head-to-head on this broadcast wing. Siren sounds as round 5. OPTUS WAFL action is underway. Bit of a skew-if bounce from the umpire, and we'll reset for that. False start. West Perth, I know it's early in the season, could drop to 1-3 with a loss here this afternoon. So we're now officially underway. West Perth looking for the first clearance. Hand pass was chopped down. Good work in and under there from Edwards. A kick up towards inside 50, off hands. Claremont player held without it. Tracking back the football brilliantly there was Connor West. He's been a prolific ball winner as well. So he moves play out towards Manzoni. Spearing ball down the non-broadcast wing. Mark wasn't taken. The umpire says high shot. Now he's called for the advantage, and the ball unfortunately has trickled over the paint. West Perth feeling rather hard done by. They might have a case there. So the result is a ball in, out of sight of the ground. Eastland just pushing his opponent illegally, said the umpire, giving away the free kick. Field umpire Rob McCaw, Lockie Fahy Gilmore and Blake Evans, the man in lime green today. That mark's not taken. Black corralled by Mountford, and his hand pass sails over the boundary line for another stoppage.
And that's going to be a matchup that we'll be seeing all day, Black and Mountford. They started out on the broadcast wing and have been really going at it hard so far, and that's the first of all we're going to see in a long matchup today. As the big men throw up their hands, ball goes to ground. Collecting it was West Perth. Footy getting bounced around a little bit in the contest, and it looks like it might be the umpires as a few bodies go toppling over. Umpire just having a quick look at what's going in the pack. I didn't hear his whistle. And he'll take it in. So right back to where we started on the edge of the centre square. The Claremont faithful getting into the game underneath our broadcast position at Revo Fitness Stadium as it's collected up by Rogers. Chipped down the wing, crumbed off the ground by Claremont. Hard pressure from West Perth. Ball finds its way into a contest. Turnover for West Perth now. They have numbers around the footy. Moving onto it and tapping it down. Claremont swarming them. Trying to collect it again. Now Claremont take the ball right back. Trying to work it out from centre half back. It'll be kicked out to the wing where they find Hardesty. And he does a good chip down to the far side for England. England booting it to the half forward flank, and a good mark was taken at the top of the paint there by McCracken.
He's had a good start to the season too. He's kicked 6 straight, and that's a good ball in board.
And that's a great little spearing kick inside for Alexander Manuel. 3 goals in round 1, 3 in round 2, and 4 last round. Kicked 11 goals, 3 on the season, and here he is from about 47 metres out on a 45. He'll back himself from here. Again, 11 goals, 3, so been dead-eye all season. Distance shouldn't be a problem. Distance wasn't a problem, or distance might not have been a problem if the kick was straight and it's gone down into the forward pocket. Booted through.
That was Callan England with a snap around the corner.
And so England with the standing snap will put up the first score of the game, but it'll be behind.
So thanks to Shutterguard Scoreboard, the first score of the afternoon goes to the Tigers, albeit a minor score. So West Perth bring the ball in, marked by Nelson, plays on, kicks out to a lead, and that was good defensive work on the outer side of the ground as mark couldn't be taken. Tyler Keitel venturing a long way forward to try and get his first mark of the afternoon. 4 minutes have elapsed, opening term. The Rucks lock up, no decisive win. Hand pass is going to be received out the back to Connor Lynch. They look to link up now through West, goes one way then the other, steps around the would-be tackler, kicks to a one-on-one inside 50. In fact, the umpire's called him for running too far. Don't see that very often. Good turn of pace through the middle of the ground, just forgot to put the football to the turf, so wasn't under immediate pressure either. So the recipient of the free kick will be Martinez. What an outstanding start to the season, being named in the WAFL team of the round for all 3 rounds so far. Transfers play to Rogers. They go further out wide. Kick mark now for the Tigers. 2 kicks from a scoring opportunity. Bit of a flower bag punt in towards the attacking 50-metre arc, and now Keitel can finally get on the end. Looks to play on. Man over the top. The kick was over his head, but it's going to bounce fortuitously now. And West Perth are away, so they finally get inside 50 and unattended inside 50, just escaping the eye of Jason Carter and popping up with the uncontested Marcus Thomas boys. Just his 5th game of WAFL football. Originally from Joondalup Kinross Junior Footy Club, and probably won't get an easier mark through his 5 games so far in his early career. Hasn't registered a score in season 2021. Can the Cardis get the first of the afternoon? The goal umpire does a lot of work to the right, but it might have snuck home, and it has.
Really liked West Perth's use of the footy there through the middle. They switched it through into the corridor, and Claremont got caught with West Perth having a lot of numbers around the footy. They charged inside 50, and Thomas Boys with a great set shot, like you mentioned, in his 5th game of WAFL, boots it through into the apartments. And West Perth, with the first major of the afternoon, have made a strong start. They've been moving the footy really well through the middle, Matt.
Claremont looking to use the outer wing a lot, trying to build forward, and unfortunately it's just that kick that's entering inside 50. So 6.5 played. We've finally got our first major of the afternoon. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington bringing you all the action. Shutterguard scoreboard has the Falcons out by 5 points as we await Blake Evans to slam the ball back into the turf. Perfect bounce this time. Rising high was Eastland. Decisive knock, but only as far as the goal kicker in Boys. Nice work floating back to the flight of the ball. So Claremont, again, just looking to walk the tightrope on the outer sides of the ground. Nothing sinister in that. Just losing his feet was Isaac Barton. Now Barton's got nothing down the line, so he's going to pop it up towards the paint of attacking 50. Big fly at the back. Couldn't take the mark. Now the umpire has spotted something untoward. And he spotted a free kick, and it's going. Just wait for which way the umpire's actually going to point. It's coming the way of the Tigers, so must have been a little bit of a push to the big ruckman underneath. Oliver Eastland, the recipient of the free kick, so he's pointing up towards the kickoff line, and that's where it goes. Big pack of players, solid spoil on that football. Crumbs gathered now in the back by Munns. Receded a little bit of ground with a defensive hand pass, but they clear their defensive lines. Getting a little shove there was Martinez. Umpire didn't agree. Good strong work there from West Perth and Keegan Knott, former Federals player out in the Avon Football Association. Now 1-on-2. Keitel gets a shocking bounce, gets through him. Tigers looking to mop up. Tigers take it without the ball, but now Keitel in a foot race. So the ball trickles just inside 50. He's met with a strong tackle slung. Manages to just fire off the hand pass. Going one way then the other as Moulton straightens for goal and does it again for West Perth. So coast-to-coast football. The turnovers from the Tigers have resulted in 2 goals early stages. And well done Keitel, because he looked to have lost his feet. Was set upon by 2 opponents. Managed to fire off a hand pass off his knees, and Moulton did the rest. Biggest lead of the afternoon, just under 2 goals, so 2 straight. West Perth leading Claremont for 1 behind as we approach 9 minutes ticking over on the Shutterguard scoreboard.
Really good play there from Moulton to take a run inside 50 and back himself from there. Managed to fake out the defending player and would-be tackler with the shot on goal.
4 goals for the season.
And back into the middle we go. The Claremont big guns in the midfield are going to have a lot of work to do. West Perth crumb it. Ball goes to ground. Handballed out, and it's collected by Pecoraro. Booted to the top of the paint, collected by Claremont. Could they get out of trouble here? They'll need to. Dangerous kick, gets smothered, but they're going to run straight onto it. It was Mitchell. Mitchell passing it out to Mountford. And now Mountford stopping and taking his time. Claremont need to slow down West Perth's momentum as much as they can here. Kicking it down the far wing, collected and snapped off a step. And almost a strong mark taken. Might have been pushed, he was.
Yeah, good decision.
So Claremont with a chance to get the ball back inside 50. They haven't been as dangerous as they'd like to, and a good intercept mark was taken there and chipped.
And this is where they're getting hurt,
side.
Luke, at the moment. It's that kick heading in between the non-broadcast wing and left half forward, and it's getting chopped off, and then West Perth looking to run and rebound.
Kick around the body, goes up to a one-on-one contest, and that was a strong mark taken in the one-on-one by Thomas Baldwin. The Albany product chips it through the middle. Now it's collected by Ryan Lim. Stabbing kick up to the far wing. Kick through the middle. Found Martinez.
We haven't seen this throughout the afternoon, them peeling off 45-degree kicks like we've seen at the moment, and this is probably the first time where they've had ball in hand and looked to switch.
So now they've switched it around to the near wing. Handball goes out wide, finds Smallwood. The intercept marker from Albany with a straight kick. That wasn't 15 metres.
I wouldn't be buying real estate if that umpire's selling any. I don't think that was 15 metres.
And now Mountford boots it in to the top of centre half forward, and that's a really good intercept mark taken by West Perth. Handball finds Wilhelm, booting it through the corridor, and a good strong mark taken again by Claremont, turned over straight away. West Perth got caught trying to rush there a little
there's
bit.
that rule, the rule change.
There it is, the standing on the mark rule on display in the waffle, and Declan Hardesty is going to be the beneficiary of that. He'll have a set shot on goal for him. It looks like the umpire's lining up about 25, maybe even 20 metres out. Hardesty for his first of the season.
Probably not the ideal start you want to make to your waffle career either, unfortunately, for Jack Burke, just moving laterally off the mark and giving away a 50-metre penalty. So a gettable goal for the Tigers.
So Hardesty, the 23-year-old, for his first of the season, dead in front, and no problem all the way through. So Claremont with their first on the board, and Declan Hardesty is the beneficiary of a 50-metre penalty after Burke got caught by the standing on the mark rule in his first game for West Perth. And
it's getting a bit nasty in the middle of the ground here, because we've got Ryan Lim locking up with Keitel, who's coming off a lock. Oh, he's actually picking up his mouth guard, so maybe it's not all one way. They're just exchanging pleasantries again on this wing. So,
and now it looks like the matchup on the closer wing has moved from Mountford on from Black on Mountford to Black on Lim, and they are getting into it, those two.
So ball back in the middle. The Tigers with the immediate response. 5 points is that margin. We tick over towards 13 minutes played. Bevy of bodies pile in on the football, and the umpire will come in to extract the footy and send it back up. So a bit of fortune for the Tigers. Their cleanness of disposal entering inside 50 has been lacking so far. They've got a goal as a result of a 50-metre penalty. Connor West puts them up towards the attacking edge of 50. Attempted volley out of the air. Hand pass too hot to handle there for Martinez. West Perth with the numbers now. Ball in the hands of Alexandra, who just sets it up to a one-on-one in the goal square. Keitel this time was well spoiled by the Tigers defender. Another good smother, this time by the Tigers defender in Carter. Ball still in dispute. A hurry kick forward, and somehow Keegan Knott left unattended. Plays on, snaps around the body, and the goal sneak, the diminutive goal sneak, gets his first of the afternoon.
Here's a bit of trouble going on just behind the play here. We can't see it on the camera yet, but there's a bit of a melee forming right in front of the umpires. Haven't seen any fist spin throwing, a lot of argy-bargy, a lot of bumping, jumper grabs. We can see for Claremont, Lim is on the floor. He's been involved with Alexandra on the far wing for the last about 5 minutes or so.
So let you keep an eye on that. We'll go back with the play as the players start to reset. That hurried kick just landing fortuitously into the hands of Keegan Knott. And what a live wire.
And here it is. It's going to be a penalty straight off the bat.
So a free kick going away of the Tigers. So let's hope that the players calm down. We're here to watch the football as they get pumped inside 50. Tigers will need an immediate response after Knott's first goal. Slap towards the boundary line. Little faked hand pass. That was good work in tight there. Was Isaac Barton. Mark won't be taken. Will it on the first bite? Second bite of the cherry is paid.
And the umpire didn't see it, but Alexandre absolutely thumped Isaac Barton after the kick. Actually even made a point of walking past him and stepping over him after the
so
play.
he's in the hands of the trainers. He looks to be okay.
That was a hard hit. He got up a little bit winded, but yeah, Matt, back to you as we see Pat Moore from about a 45.
So Pat Moore kicked 2-2 this season. Had 7 inside 50s against the Demons 2 weeks ago. Gettable goal. Puts it straight over the goal umpire's head. So bit of ill discipline creeping in for both teams. Claremont getting the immediate reply through Pat Moore.
Still a lot
Kicks his
going on.
third of the season.
And what a way for Claremont to reply there. They did about the best you can. West Perth had the free kick go against them. Claremont managed to move it inside 50, and a couple of the West Perth players a little bit more focused on the body perhaps in the lead up to that goal. And Claremont the beneficiaries of it. And
Let's go back to Keegan Knott. I mean, 11, he's kicked 10-3 coming into this game. He's kicked his 11th early stages with a good mark, and then playing on relatively early in his career too. His 65th game. Now he spent a little bit of time out, maybe one season as a break playing for Federals in Northern. Now the umpire's just calming things down. He might just say that just going to wait. He might be balling this one up. And he will. So Black moved onto the ball. Mountford, Black on hands and knees, gets tied up by Eastland. No prior opportunity. We'll reset from the bullseye. Shutterguard scoreboard. Bit of a seesawing contest at the moment. Falcons kicking accurately. 3 straight to the 2 goals won. Hurried kick off a step. Ball to be won. Middle of the ground. That surely was not correct disposal from Mitchell, but because the umpire was on the other side of it, so we can't criticise him for that. West Perth hunting in packs. They pile on. Is that prior opportunity? No. Perilously close to the boundary line and ridden into the turf. It was Jason Carter, so they managed to pick him up off the turf. So Eastland wins it down with the left hand towards Lim, who's had his jumper ripped in half down the front. Kick around the corner was smothered. Here is Lim. That was slick hands. Hurried hand pass coming out towards the wing. West, kick smothered, almost stolen. Bit of shepherding off the ball, allows West Perth a bit of airspace now. So kicking off one step was Connell Lynch. Looking for his full forward in Keitel. Won't get there this time. Hand pass received at the bootlaces of Lucy and out of bounds on the full. So he was on a hiding to nothing there. Got the hand pass received and was hot. So West Perth with a chance. I remember one of my first games calling here. They had a shot after the sign from this position and missed against Claremont. Ball gets squared. No clean mark. Gathering the crumbs at the back there. Is that going to be holding the ball on Carter? It is. Yep. Effectively in the square, and he's told about it as well. So he may have got away with one out here on the commentary side of the ground, but the umpire right under the nose on the point of the square, and surely West Perth can bang through their 4th of the afternoon. Alexandre will take the free kick. He's only kicked the 1 this season. And again, just to going back to this almost tennis-style scoring, and just as you say, it was a mere formality. He thunted into the left-hand upright. So they dodge a bullet. First blemish of the afternoon on the Shutterguard scoreboard for the Falcons. They currently lead by 1 straight kick.
Lucy a kick out to the wing from fullback, dangerously close to the boundary, and a big contested mark is taken in by Eastland. Eastland's going to hold on to it, and Claremont will slow things down, moving it into the back pocket and taken by Smallwood. Switching it out to the far wing now. Can they get numbers across? Ball gets chipped up to the half-back flank. They'll take it and continue slowing things down. It's Rogers.
That's his 5th disposal, all been kicked so far this afternoon, Luke.
Ball gets crumbed by West Perth. Edge of the centre square. They're collecting it and have the chance to move inside 50 now. Handball forward, it trickles in. Claremont collecting it, turns straight over, a snap around the body. Just went wide across the goal face completely. And
Alexandre.
yeah, Alexandre, not quite.
Connor West getting busy, Luke. That was his 8th disposal. Slick little hand pass there to the West Perth forward. Unfortunately couldn't reap the rewards, but he's getting active and a player that I would think that the Tigers would want to clamp very shortly.
So kicked out to the far wing by Claremont. Pack went up for it. Trickled down. Might have been out of bounds. Yeah, he was. So out of bounds before the kick was whiffed on and went out of bounds on the full. Lucky there. So throw in from just underneath our broadcast position.
Keitel just at the interchange gates at the moment, so getting some areas, covered a bit of ground from full forward all the way up to half forward.
That was won by Claremont, but taken straight away by Nelson. A snap around the body went low into the danger area. Trying to crumb it off the ground now, West Perth. Ball in a pack, and now a snap around the body might be good. Yes, it will. Noah Pecoraro with his first of the afternoon. West Perth take a 2-goal lead now.
Well done, Keegan Knott. We mentioned that he's such a live wire forward, and he can kick some outrageous goals as well, particularly tight in the pockets. Kept the ball alive in that contest, was met head on, could probably have earned himself a free kick, Luke, but instead he fires off the hand pass and Pecoraro kicks his first of the season. So 4 goals to 2.
And that was good, really good forward pressure from West Perth. Claremont had 2 attempts there. It started with the kick out from fullback. West Perth hemmed them back in. Started with the kick from down low in the back pocket when the ball went out on the full. West Perth hemmed them back in, and then the snap around the body was a goal.
It's a shift in what also the coaches are doing with the magnets too, because generally when players kick a goal, they come racing off the field. But Pecoraro has gone and lined up straight in the square. So the umpire's blown the whistle. One of the sides has failed to do their equations correctly. Ball tossed up. England outpointed this time. Oh, coming through with a raised arm was Miller, I think it was. No, rather it was Carter. No damage or major infliction. That's got to be holding the ball, and it is. So Claremont, they have responded each time West Perth have goal. Umpire says play on, so he's got to hurriedly kick it off one step. Ball bounces awkwardly in front of Buller. They lose possession. Black, hand passing to no one. We'll be happy to see the ball out of play. Time to draw breath. It's been fast and frenetic, not only in goal kicking, but aggressive mindset for both teams. Round 5, OPTUS WAFL season for 2021. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington bring you all the action. Kick smothered there from the Tigers from Edwards. That forces another turnover. Losing his feet was Lucy. Another Tigers player goes to ground dangerously. West on the scene, rather not it was that was laying the tackle, but the Tigers get an out. Broadcast wing. Little hand pass to the outside. They link up with a 1-2. Back in the hands of Eastland. Nice measured kick for a ruckman. And sliding out, taking the mark was Manuel. He stalled with a hand pass, and now they've turned it over again. So West Perth's chance to play the 1-2 with Nelson. Chips it down to Knott. Marking in front of his opponent there in Baldwin. Wheels around. 2-on-1 as the Tigers defender comes over. Probably could have marked. The umpire says high shot. Free kick to West Perth. Advantage paid to West into a vacant goal square. Misses to the right-hand side. They dodge another bullet to the Tigers. So they look to go quickly. Martinez. Peels off one. Looks for the return hand pass. Draws the defender. Doesn't receive it, but created a bit of space. Patmore. Back into the hands now of Martinez. They seem to have cleaned up their disposals, apart from that one. Contested mark, far side. Former State Basketball League player for the Joondalup Wolves, Blake Wilhelm. Obviously a fantastic footballer, been named in the team of the year last year. So out come West Perth. What can they muster now? Manzoni over the top to Moulton. Moulton's got an option in not. Just chips it over his head, but he had too much on it. Carried over its intended target. Tigers, can they keep it in? Pushed as he kicked and out of play. 24.5 minutes travelled. Shutterguard scoreboard. 13 points. The biggest lead of the afternoon in favour of the Falcons.
So again, we find ourselves down by the West Perth forward 50. Big men throw up their hands. Collected straight off the ruck by West Perth. Snap around the body, makes his way down low. Could be a chance here, but he just fumbled at Riddick. And now he wraps him up in a tackle. No prior opportunity.
Well, Rudy had it spent before he earned it. Went with the one-hand grab and fumbled the ball at the wrong time, but credit to the Tigers defenders who closed him down.
West Perth could be dangerous here as they try and collect it. And they'll be taken right in again, I reckon. Yep. So another chance here. I'll be looking for that snap around the body from one of the West Perth midfielders. Maybe Moulton can make his way down in there. And here it is as they crumb it off the ground. Taken straight in again. Umpire will have it.
The debutant, Jack Burke from Queen's Districts.
So the big men go up for a third time. Tap collected off the ground by Claremont. Manages to kick it out of trouble. Of ducking and weaving. Pushed out to the wing for Hardesty. Hardesty with a kick up the near wing. Into a pack. And that one nearly went over the boundary, but they managed to keep it in. Pegarara, and he'll go out just right after. Claremont really struggling to move it out of their half at this point. West Perth getting a lot of numbers to the footy. Really tough along the ground. A lot of contested possessions. I would say they definitely have the advantage in that department. As Claremont collect it now. Good use of the footy. Buller moves it to the half forward flank. Mark taken out on the wing.
Brilliant
taken in by Barton. That was Barton's second mark in that exact style out on the flank. The one before was when he got flattened by Alexandra. So good to see him back as Wilhelm. Chipping kick to the far wing, and West Perth, can they march their way down the field again? And that was a bit of a hospital handball as Kane Mitchell wraps him up. Ball finds its way out of bounds. West Perth will be happy for things to just slow down for a second there as they were exiting. Got into a bit of a pickle on the far wing. Claremont swarming them a little bit.
Claremont seem to be slow starters so far this season. They've only won one of their first quarters in their 3 wins this season, whereas West Perth are undefeated in first quarter. Unfortunately, the wins aren't paid just on one quarter's work. That's a poor kick. Good strong mark taken, spun in the air. Contested was Baldwin. It's been impressive in the early stages. They link up now by hand. Good job from West, applying some pressure. He's up to 12 disposals. Claremont would not want to concede a late goal here. So West Perth, floating hand pass over the top. Beautifully measured kick. Gaining some space is Moulton. Can play on. He's got lots of room to operate. Kicks it in towards Keitel, who came out and levelled the Claremont defender. Mitchell down the wing. Honours the lead by Jack Buller. They'll move it out the side door now. This is England. Up towards Barton. He's getting busy over there at right half forward. That's better vision this time, but has he got too much on it? No, he doesn't. That's a good mark. So he elected just to go with almost the 9-iron around the body, and that allows a bit of closing time and closing speed from the West Perth defender, but that is a good mark and courageous standing under it from Max Menier.
Yeah, really good there from Menier. Had eyes only for the footy. Took a bit of a blow on the way down, but that's the price you've got to pay to take one in like that. He's 4 goals 0 on the year, and now here he is, Matt, from about 35 out on a very slight angle.
I've got Max Menier down as this is his debut. So he'll come in, he'll gets very close to the man on the mark, hangs it out well to the right.
Maybe a rounding error from me. I'd back you in that one.
So the Dying embers of the first term, Revo Fitness Stadium. OPTUS WAFL Round 5 action season 2021. Thanks to Shutterguard. 2 straight kicks to the margin. West Perth have started brightly. Big pack of players. Eastland was one of them. Over the tall timber. Now towards the interchange gates. West Perth have been good, composed in tight with their disposal by hand. Lim read it. Bobbling ball's going to be picked up. And right on cue, there is the siren. It has been fast, ferocious, and a quarter on the scoreboard, dominated in the early stages by West Perth. 4-2-26, they lead Claremont 2-2-14. We've seen plenty of rough and tough action out in the field. Luke, your quick summation before we throw to a break.
Claremont midfield need to get pretty busy. Jai Bolton, we haven't seen a lot of him today. Usually he'd probably have about 9 disposals by now. He's sitting on 3 currently. Yep. Only a kick and a handball. Haven't really seen him on the field. He might have even, as the argy-bargy continues down on the field. Don't want to have that when the kids are coming out, hopefully. But, Jai Bolton, haven't seen much of him. I think he might have come off the field at some point when things were getting messy early in the first quarter. So
will be
Claremont need
interesting
to make an adjustment there.
Be interesting to see if Jai Bolton, where he's going to line up as we start the second term. Well, it is quarter time. Revo Fitness Stadium here in Claremont. The home side with a little bit of work to do. We're at quarter time. Don't go anywhere. The second quarter will be right back. It is the Falcons by 12 points.
Shutterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shutterguard.com.au.
Welcome back to Revo Fitness Stadium. Highlights of the first term, which has the West Perth Falcons currently leading the Claremont Tigers by 2 goals, and bodies spilling out. Let's have a look at Trent Moulton. Polished little finish around the corner for him. We can tell you the leading ball winner on the ground so far in this round 5 fixture, Connor West, 13 disposals, 10 of those by hand, but that's been a feature of West Perth today as they run and carry through the middle of the ground. Yeah, and you'd be expecting that from him this year. 30 disposals last round and 30 in the round before. So really strong start to the season with him, and he's on track for another big performance in the midfield for them. Just having a look at some of the other numbers. Just quickly, there's that holding the ball call down there. Alexandre with the big wrap-up tackle on Jason Carter. Hit the post after that one. Shane Nelson getting busy in this first term, 9 disposals. Pegararo, 8 touches along with his goal. And that man that we just saw on screen, nicely setting up an opportunity for the Tigers, which they didn't take. And it was my apologies, just as we saw Manir on the screen there, the mistake I made in the first quarter. It was 4 goals that he'd kicked in the reserve. In the reserves this year, you were correct. So he has earned his right to play upper level. So Isaac Barton has been an influential player. Claremont using the width of the ground a lot. We haven't seen them come through the corridor many times. They had one of their goals from a 50-metre penalty and another one off their resulting free kick, and that team on screen at the moment in West Perth. We can go through the goal kickers. First of all, Tyson Moulton for West Perth. Keegan Knotts kicked one also. Noah Pegararo and Thomas Boys.
Tyson Moulton's probably been the best on ground for me today. I would say the quality of his possessions have been incredible, and so was that goal.
Must be contagious as whatever you've got too, because I called him Trent before and not Tyson. So we're having a great day here at Revo Fitness Stadium at the moment. One of the best looking grounds by far in the WAFL.
What do we need to do to get an apartment up there? Maybe we can use one of them for the next game that we call here.
I think those apartments are sort of more set aside for the West or Sunday Times reporters. I think as one of their second or third investment properties on that outer side, but unfortunately not for us just yet, Luke. As we see some of the juniors having a kick on the ground as well. The goal kickers for Claremont, Jake Patmore and Declan Hardesty, but they've got to clean up their disposal entering inside 50.
I think the most dangerous that Claremont have been moving inside 50 is at right half forward, with Isaac Barton collecting that mark pretty much just underneath everybody. Sometimes even in a 2-on-1 situation, he's been collecting that mark at right half forward, snapping it right into the middle of the danger area inside 50, and they've had that set shot on goal. They haven't made the most of the opportunity on a couple of them, but that's an adjustment that West Perth are going to need to make, taking care of him.
I mentioned in our preview for this game this afternoon, Luke, that West Perth were the most efficient team when they enter inside 50, and they've shown that because they've had 11 inside 50s so far this afternoon for 4 goals, or 6 scoring shots in total. They've only had 3 more inside 50s than the Tigers, so showing that they're a lot cleaner. They're better at executing at the early stages so far. But as we've seen throughout the season, I know it's a small sample size, through 3 rounds, West Perth have won all of their opening terms. So it's that sort of late game drop-off. I know they had a narrow loss to Subiaco just 2 weeks ago. As we have a look at some of the hit-out numbers.
So the hit-out numbers have really been favouring Claremont, and I think this can speak to the work that the West Perth mids are doing on the ground, because Oliver Eastland has won 11 hit-outs, Jack Buller has 2, and on the other side, Benjamin Delaporte is leading the hit-outs, tied with Keitel and Pecoraro 1 apiece. So absolutely dominating in the hit-out count.
13 to 3.
So yeah, I mean the work that the West Perth mids are doing, crumbing the ball and getting contested possessions, has been outstanding, I would say. Especially given the differential there, you would like a bit of help, and they've just completely gone and overrun them.
We did talk a couple of weeks ago, I remember in our call, about...
And it looks like Lee will just be wearing number 71 quickly for those watching at home. After the rip... 71 after the rip jumper. So changing from 4 to 71.
Oh, wow, that's one of the highest numbers that we've seen in the competition for a while. See if that one can remain in one piece. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, Luke, about world sports stats that probably are either overused or overemphasised, and hit-outs would have to be one of them.
Definitely, and I think we can see that today. But really, I mean, it is a testament, I think, to the West Perth on ballers, because that's really impressive to be able to go and overrun that stat like that. Maybe you would say that the law of averages would apply, and it would even out a little bit though.
West Perth looking to extend their 12-point quarter-time lead thanks to Shutterguard as we started the first term with a false start. We'll go again. Ball comes up, and Eastland, his 12th hit out of the afternoon. Claremont will want to get going quickly. Not on this occasion. Good follow-up tackle from Eastland. Ball gets jarred out the side through to Mitchell. So he tumbles one end over end. That pitch is just inside 50, but West Perth with the numbers there to mop up. Interesting looking kick coming in towards the outer side. Big collision at right half forward. No prior opportunity for either player. In fact, and we'll have a ball up. So 2-2 to 4-2. 6 scoring shots to 4, but you just felt that West Perth dominated that term. Hand pass was intercepted on the far side of the ground. Clever work from Mitchell. Just patted it down volleyball style, but the kicker coming inside towards 50 wasn't so good. Nor was that hand pass either. West Perth in trouble. Prior opportunity and holding the ball. So it was not over-ambitious with the choice of handballing. It was just the execution. And Manzoni, unfortunately, turned it over. Claremont looked to play on, and they missed the lot. Out of bounds on the full, so they continue to slightly butcher that football.
This is the second time we've seen from both teams them electing to play on and missing it like that, and what a interesting play there to see the ball turned right back over to Claremont after the kick from the back pocket.
So Ben Edwards in the right spot. Obviously, the West Perth defender not making the proper contact that he intended. So Ben Edwards, useful around the big sticks, 3 straight in 2021.
Had his father and grandfather win premierships with Claremont. And now here he is.
In he comes. And that
looked good.
is as straight as an arrow. 4 straight for the season. And Claremont get the desired start in this second term. They draw first blood and move within 1 straight kick. 2 1/4 minutes played. Shutterguard scoreboard.
Real dead-eye kick there from Edwards. Really, really strong. Had the opportunity last year to become the Edwards family, the first family in history to have grandfather, father and son win a WAFL premiership with Claremont. Just missed it at the end there, but maybe a chance this year. Just as we look down at the mids, Jai Bolton has not been playing for most of the game, and he's definitely not in at the moment, so we'll need to try and provide an update on what's happened there. Maybe at halftime we can find something out. But nonetheless, we're back underway, and West Perth with a 1-goal lead are going to be looking to bounce back here after a crucial turnover that cost that goal. The big men go up for it. Crumb by West Perth in the centre circle. Kicked out wide, taken straight away by Carter.
Pushed.
Yep, and he was pushed, so managed to get the kick off under a lot of pressure, but push there, so ended up being all good. Would have been a boundary throw in otherwise and slowed things down significantly, but back on the march at Claremont, kicking it to the top, left, right, half forward, and ball off a hand trickles out of bounds. So Claremont look like they're slowly starting to get back to their old selves and applying the pressure on West Perth. Some quarter-time adjustments would have been absolutely crucial after losing Bolton in that first term, and maybe that was why they struggled so early. Ball collected off the ground by Riddick, handball out wide, and there's just an issue going on here again with Kane Mitchell as a few players charge in right in front of the umpire. And will we see 50 called? It's going to be a free kick going Claremont's way. More of this continuing. The coaches would have had a lot of words to say, I imagine, at quarter time to both of their sides about calming things down as the handball goes out wide. Kick on the run comes in from 50 metres. Distance won't be a problem, and it hit the post. What a running shot that was from Lachlan Martinez.
That was going to end up in the 3rd row of flats as well. That had plenty of carry.
Unreal play from Martinez. He's had a flying start to the season, hasn't dipped under 28 disposals, and averages 18 in his league career, so really flying start, and I think we'll see more from him today. West Perth switching it out to the near wing. Ball will be collected and slowed down by Shannon, the Quins product, and dangerous kick.
He had to put that on a postage stamp, literally, and he did so.
So now booting it up the right-hand side. Might have been held, he wasn't. Tapped down, ball's going to be taken in and switched into the centre square for West Perth. Now here's Connor West. West hasn't dipped under 30 disposals this year, but that one, unfortunately, ineffective as Davis collects it. Stabbing kick across Martinez. Finding Mitchell on the outside, former Port Adelaide product. He finds Mountford, the former North Melbourne product. Kick goes through the middle for Lim. Started the game in the number 6 jumper, now wearing 71.
Well, 7 subtract 1. My maths is correct. He's still managing to wear number 6.
As the ball gets chipped inside, 50 for Claremont. West Perth running onto it. What can they do here? They're in a bit of trouble. Trying to crumb it off his own handball. Handball around the body off his knees. And now they'll move it forward well. West Perth, no, the intercept mark is taken by Hardesty.
That was unfortunate, but how good was that work in close there from Hamilton?
And that was a bad turnover there for Claremont. The ball taken straight away, and they turn it over in the corridor now. Could be in trouble here. Claremont moving it well through the middle, and they really got numbers on them there with the turnover in the corridor. Kicking it down low into the forward pocket, and the mark is taken. So Claremont will have a set shot here through Jack Buller. Had 3 goals, 3 on the season. Though knowing my...
No, they're all in the league, mate. You're all good.
Yep, all in the league. Won't make that mistake again.
He's a good marking target, obviously, at 196 centimetres, but he's able to give Eastland a chop out in the ruck as well.
So Buller, about an 80-degree angle, very, very tight. Distance isn't an issue, but it goes across the face of the goal, through for a behind. So Buller, 3 goals, 4 on the season. Again, all in the league.
Bit like a lawn bowler putting it on the wrong bias straight off the boot. You could just see that it was going to end Ori. So here comes West Perth. That 15 metre space there. Moulton got pushed.
He did.
And 50 metres, so too much chirp to the umpire. So 50 metres penalties apiece, 1 and 1. That's a very short 50 metres. So Moulton, too far out to score, obviously. He's got 2 options at right half forward. Instead, we'll just come into a vacant corridor through the middle of the ground. Kicks to a 2-on-1. No marks taken. Maybe the defender heard some footsteps. That's in the back for the Tigers defender as Keegan Knott gives away the free kick. Overzealous into the back of Thomas Baldwin. So Baldwin plays on by hand. The umpire, they like to be a little pedantic about this, so they'll reset around the mark, or in fact it's actually going to the other player in Carter. So Carter moves it towards Lim. You can see him motioning his players towards the outer side. Kicks over the top. Bit of a blind spoil on the outer side was Munns. Loops the hand pass over the top into the hands now of Alexandre. Gives it up to along the outer side. Oh, lovely fake. They look to kick to a well-guarded defensive goal square, and the Tigers setting up structurally quite well behind the ball. So that was Mountford. Fantastic kick, all of 50 metres. Mitchell gets the hand pass received while he was flat-footed, but the classy player that he is works in the telephone booth and just chips it over the top.
Good communication from Manier and Mitchell as well. Manier clearly ran in, called that it was his, and Mitchell, without really having a clue where he was.
And have a look. Mitchell could be on the end of this play. In fact, he will be. And he's just made up 50 metres after that little hand pass. You can see what a workhorse he is. Black in board. They play the 1-2. Here comes Boys. Good pick up at the shoelaces. Dumped on his head was Martinez, and they set upon him. 3-on-1. Well, he landed quite awkwardly. I think took that onto the side of the head. Let's hope he's okay, but he was on a hiding to nothing as 3 Falcons swooped on him. Now the umpire spotted a free kick.
Wow.
So more ill discipline. The game's been riddled by it. Shane Nelson gets very close to the man on the mark. Just a propping ball inside 50 through the hands of Keitel. Tigers get away with the rugby cutout pass. Eastland, they move it out. Now there's more wrestling, there's more fighting. The umpires are going to bring play back because it's on inside 50. And the turnover ball. So it'll be Claremont winning the free kick. Left half back. Keegan Knott wants to go on with it with Martinez. And now, because he's absorbed in wrestling and pushing, ill discipline from Knott, he's almost given away the 50, so the fans getting a little riled now as well. That one goes very high. No marks taken. Wilhelm overran the football. Eastland, front on tackle. Well done, Wilhelm. Kept the ball alive and then laying the DDT headlock, something that you'd see in the WWE was from Manier, so he turns it over.
West Perth are the beneficiary of a lot of these free kicks, and I think that comes from them being so hard at the footy on the ground, and now they're doing a really good job switching it out to the other side. So both contested and uncontested possessions have been phenomenal from them from the start of this one.
So they moved it to the outer side of the ground, inside 50, high hanging ball. Keitel elect to stay on the ground, does well again. Martinez can clear his defensive 50-metre arc to a contest on the wing. Will that mark be paid? Yes, it will.
Yep.
So that was Well juggled in the end. Gordanen. Nice looking drop punt, that's going to fall short, and Keitel straight into the back of his opponent. And again, the arm wrestle continues, and that's going to be a 50-metre penalty. Let's stay with the action, the actual football we've all come to watch today. So they advance it. West Perth managed to get a player on the mark. That's pretty rare sometimes. So good hard running, and that's just an errant kick. But through the hands, it could end up okay. Into the hands now of Tracy. Now he could burn away. The ex-Eagles listed player. Can he finish? You bet he can.
That might be one of the goals of the year.
That was brilliant. Backed himself. Big man as well. All of 40 metres. Showed a clean pair of heels. Anthony Tracy, originally from Cable Beach, kicks his 5th goal of the season. Let's have a look at the replay thanks to CD Dodd. Let's have a look at this. Steps around the would-be tackler, has a bounce, hemmed it in the pocket, backs himself to step around, and then as he kicks, manages to have the strength through the upper body to put it through the big sticks, and rightfully so on his haunches, getting some oxygen in. That is the highlight of the day. Thanks again to CD Dodd.
Unbelievable from him, really. Essentially a 1-on-5 matchup that he took on through that 40-metre run that he just had, and the effort that it took to actually kind of be nimble around the low area and work around those last couple of players was quite incredible. He was really, really light on his feet there, and I think both teams at points in this game have been caught getting involved in things that are off the footy, and the other team have managed to catch them out. It hasn't really favoured one side, but both teams have been guilty of it, and I think whoever stops might find an advantage here. Big tackle in the centre square, but the handball got out of there, kicked to the top of centre half forward, collected off the ground now by Claremont. They could have a chance to move it in through Barton. There he is in the pocket again. Sorry, right half forward again. And now Claremont in a dangerous area. Could be a chance here. Right in front, Tracy. And Claremont increased their lead. 5 goals this season, Tracy. When he was drafted at pick 11 by West Coast earlier in his career, he was getting ready for his day, refreshed his phone and saw he'd been drafted. Modern technology. Pretty unconventional, but really good goal there here in the waffle for him. And I think
West
Perth
Perth
surprised him too.
West Perth have been held scoreless. Claremont have kicked 3 unanswered. And at this stage, it just seems as though West Perth are more focusing on what's happening off the ball than what's currently on it. So the Tigers have taken advantage, and that is their biggest lead. This round 5 fixture, we're back in the middle. Umpires have struggled a little with the centre bouncing, but that one is an absolute peach. Eastland, he's dominant today. Feeding Mountford, who can kick inside 50, up towards the feet of Buller. Just steps around the would-be tackler off one step, punches it, through for a minor score.
That was a kick.
Particularly off balance. Wow. So Buller, we have seen him in the ruck various times this afternoon. Misses there, and West Perth up against it. So it'll be Wilhelm to bring the ball back in, and that is a scrubber of a kick up towards the wing. 2 on none, favouring the Tigers. And they look to bite off a dangerous kick back in towards the middle of the ground. Martinez did well, tries to wrap up the West Perth ball carrier. A couple of smothered hand passes. The Tigers player just tries to spin his way through trouble. That was Edwards. And incorrect disposal results in the free kick. West Perth looking to play on. From the Bullseyes, weird spinning ball. Mitchell couldn't gather it. Tried to keep the ball in front of him, but he's turned it over. A little bit of space as Shannon draws an opponent, but his hand pass was juggled. Mitchell has been very active in this term. Stray hand pass followed up by a good smother. Well done, Barton. Fed it out to the side door now. Mitchell can set up. How well weighted is the kick? It's not too bad. That was clever. Slaps it over the top towards Tracy. He's got a man in Buller over the top. This is going to be 3 in the space of exactly that in minutes. Well done, Tracy, again. That was clever work on the outer side of the ground. Clever tap over the end. Definitely the scoring end to the left of screen. as Tracy, thanks to CD Dodd, composed, popped it over.
And Claremont did
Vacant square.
Claremont really good decision there, keeping those men deep in the forward pocket. And they managed to really get a jump on West Perth with the numbers that they had inside the 50. And absolutely no trouble there as they kicked the ball in over the defence. West Perth not prepared after the turnover. And Claremont got the jump on them, and they've increased their lead out now. And they're on their way to one of the biggest leads of the afternoon.
There's no noticeable breeze to speak of, but 8 majors this afternoon have been kicked to the left.
The flag is moving slightly to the left of screen, but I don't think that it's anything that would be impacting the flow of the game or the goal scoring whatsoever.
So West Perth have mucked up the maths. Free kick. They've been warned.
So straight through the corridor. That kick finds McCracken. Booting it down inside 50, and the kick takes a bounce. West Perth a good job pushing it to the outside for Black. Black slices it through, finding Boyce. Stabbing kick, finds Black one more time. He made up the ground to get back in front of him.
He's got a smirk on his face because he's chatting with these Claremont, a couple of the Claremont looks to be Colts players just on the boundary line. So seasoned campaigner. Here they go with a horseshoe now.
So moving it out to the fat side of the ground, and he came in hard there, but West Perth are going to chip it through just the left side of the corridor. Trying to run onto the ball and crumb it now. Sock it off the ground into space. Claremont running onto it. Handball finds the intended receiver, and they boot it back through the middle. Claremont could get a jump here. Kick to the outside. Almost found Buller. He's been dangerous in this quarter. Really good handball over the top for Mitchell. Stabs it to right half forward. And there's Barton again in his office that he's rented out for this afternoon. And Callan England.
Callan England, give him some praise because he started that chain there, probably 100 metres from goal, and now it ends up taking the mark where he is. So hard running has paid off. Now it's going to be a tight angle to score from, but he obviously he's got the option just to set it up.
And that one went into the one-on-one contest and dribbled over the line, but Claremont with the territory here. So really, really good work through the middle from them. They took over West Perth with the numbers around the footy. Rucks go up for it. Ball hits the ground before it reached anyone. Umpire blows his whistle. That's going to be holding the man, and it will go in favour of West Perth. So West Perth are going to need to slow things down here. Claremont have the momentum that they found themselves with for almost the entirety of the first half.
11-9, the free kick count, as West Perth look to clear defensively to a big pack of players on the outer side. Arms over the footy. Kick inside 50 from Hardesty. Won't manage to get to its target, but taken, and a brilliant tackle was Hamilton. And Buller, I've really loved his work rate around the ground. For a tall man, can get down at ground level. He's got good hands. Awkward spinning ball up to the goal square. Was that touched? It was. It came off a knuckle and went through for a minor score.
Wow, West Perth would have been disappointed if he didn't get his hand to that.
Shutterguard scoreboard has Claremont out by 16 points. That has been their biggest leading margin so far of this round 5 contest. It's 12 scoring shots to 6. Just nothing happening for West Perth in this term. Ball's brought back into play. Overrunning the footy was Carter. West Perth now, can this be a chance? Black. Play broken up there by Lucy. Back into the hands of Knott. Was that correct disposal? It wasn't, but it was the result of a push, says the umpire. Knott brings it inboard. Off now to the run of Potentate. Potentate can run his full measure. Dinks it out in front of his forward beautifully, and out on the slide. Taking the mark is Tyson Moulton.
Moulton been a little bit quieter than he was in the first term in this quarter. He's still up there.
Oh, he had that nice goal on the run.
He did, yeah. And
oh, is that going to be 50?
That's going to be 50 metres for an incident that happened.
Or one apiece now with the 50-metre penalties that could possibly going to result in goals.
Just a lot.
Just bringing it back,
Yeah.
At no stage do we condone sort of the ribbing of umpires and things like that, but that was a questionable decision, as not seen to throw the ball, and then got pushed in the back afterwards. But needless to say, it's resulted in Moulton becoming the first multiple goal kicker for West Perth. He has kicked 2.
Flying start for him today.
And it has broken a glut of goals to the left of your screen. So the quarter time score had West Perth at 4-2. They now moved to 5-2 on the Shatterguard scoreboard. And Claremont have piled on 4 goals, 4.
So West Perth, with about 8 minutes of running time left in this second quarter, are really, really going to want at least 1, I think, for them to get back within 4 points, or get back even just within a goal. Going into the second half after the start of this quarter would be a pretty good effort for where they're at currently, and would set things up for a really grandstand second half.
Just noticed down below us in the dugout, Thomas Baldwin getting a bit of treatment on a right hamstring.
So the ball's moved out to the far wing. Claremont trying to get a bit of momentum again. Manuel kicks it inside 50, and really good lead there as Mania in his league debut takes his second mark inside 50.
I don't think the delivery was as clean as what they would have liked, because that ball floated horizontally on its axis, and I think that allowed it just to slow up into the path of Mania out on the lead.
Yep, and he flew in to collect that one, so really good from him.
First goal.
And distance isn't a problem. Yes,
it is. Get around him.
So there we go. After being called up from the reserves last round, Mania with his first league goal, and gets Claremont right back to where we were before.
The ultimate preparation. You even came in with their reserves goal, Luke. So well done. But look, obviously one to remember. He had an earlier shot in that first term, and his teammates getting around him, and why not? A special moment for him. And more importantly, that lead balloons out now to 16 points, or back to 16 points, 7-6 to 5-2. Shatterguard scoreboard. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington bring you all the action from Revo Fitness Stadium. Thanks again to Optus, wonderful supporters of Western Australian football. Some other games going around that will give some scores at half-time. East Perth taking on Swan Districts, the Sharks taking on the Demons, and South Fremantle taking on Subiaco. Just reminding local footy fans in the Peel region, get down and watch the Thunder take on the West Coast Eagles reserves tomorrow. That game at
I will be
David
watching
Gray's
that.
Arena.
I will be watching that.
And of course the big one in local footy. Here come West Perth.
2 derbies we get tomorrow. Fun.
Tedesco digs one over the top. Nelson. Well,
Really
Judge Mark.
strong intercept mark there. That was
Well,
great.
Jai Bolton.
He's back. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't recognise him. He shaved his hair as well.
And
Or had a haircut at least. So here's Eastland. Oh, that should be 50 metres. No, Martinez will play on instead. Feeds out the hand pass to Rogers. Rogers props it up. Good spoil on the football. Brought down at ground level. Great tackle there. Laid by Manuel. Is it going to be? No, he's said that the tackle lingered. It looked like a textbook tackle. The umpire came racing in and has said that it's holding the man. So reprieve for the Falcons. This is West. Had a lot of disposals in that opening term. In fact, he had 13. Links up with a teammate in Tedesco. Better build up play now as Black feeds it off by hand, and they can enter inside 50. Riddick just tries to try to outbody his opponent. Not. Got his hand pass away. Lays a strong tackle. But the Tigers can stand up again, and they move it out. The right foot kick coming out of defence from Lucy. Good composure just between the wing and half forward from Patmore. That was brilliant. Selling Candy. Rides the bump to Lim in the 71. They go through the middle of the ground. Here they come, the Tigers. Eastland. They're out here across half forward. 20-metre handball, if you don't mind. Into the grateful arms of England. Vacant square, doesn't matter. Punches it through. that all starts with players willing to take the game on at half back.
Yep, and that was great footy all around by Claremont.
I think it was, who just showing his twinkle toes. Have a look at that hand pass thanks to CD Dodd from Eastland. He's hand passed that further than I can kick.
And the goal looked pretty the way that they sliced them through the middle, but it really started with some hard work along the ground at centre half back. So they had to really work for that one, put themselves in such a good position to move the ball through the corridor.
But let's have a look. Let's have a look at how they were moving the ball in the second turn compared to the first turn, Luke. Because the first turn, the ball was out on the outer side of the ground a lot for the Tigers. They had shallow inside 50s, and when they were coming inside 50, the kick wasn't executed as probably as cleanly as it would like. They've cleaned that up in the second term, and they're looking to take the game on more through the middle of the ground, and they are hurting the Falcons on the scoreboard now.
And that's the coaching. That's really good quarter time adjustments. They would have had a good talking to then, and that might have been holding the ball, but it snapped around the body from Delaporte, and the intercept mark taken by Claremont. Moving it straight through the corridor again, but it's collected by Delaporte one more time. Handballing it out wide, trying to find West. Ball crumbed off the ground by West one more time. West Perth at centre half back are going to have to move it out of trouble. He just got hit before the mark, thought it might have been paid. Now moving it out to the near wing, West Perth. What can they do here? They're really, really going to want one in what could be a maximum of the last 2 minutes of running time. Snapping it right through to the edge of the... chipping it right through to the edge of the centre square. Collected by Burke. Booted inside 50. And thought the whistle might have gone there. It hasn't. Turned over again by West Perth at the top of centre half forward. Booting it inside down low. Intercepts mark nearly taken. And
that was friendly fire too.
Yeah, someone looks to be out there. And that was a strong mark nearly taken by West Perth. Edge of the centre square, Wilhelm. He fumbled with it almost all the way to the boundary. Now Claremont have numbers on the footy. Moving it down the wing, and it's going to be chipped over the top into a contest.
Oh, that's a poor kick.
Yeah, the errant kick still managed to maintain possession, West Perth, however. And now they could be a chance here. And another kick just mongrels along the ground. West Perth going to have to collect it off the ground, and it'll be taken right back in.
Just go back to that previous passage of play. Well done again from Tracy, who was under the watchful eye of Blake Wilhelm, who is an outstanding defender and ball winner, ball user. And then he managed to turn the footy over and started that attack for the Tigers. Unfortunately, they couldn't execute, but important stoppage. It's back in the middle. So Keitel will do the ruck work, just grabs it out of the ruck. Tried to slam it on his boot, but he was pushed off it. Martinez, did he take on one too many tacklers? No, said the umpire. The Falcons will get a snap around the corner through for a minor score. That was from Black. So 7 points now for the term for the Cardis as Martinez steps out of the square, bites off the kick to Lim, who takes the mark as paid. That brings us to half-time. Let's credit the Claremont Tigers turning around a 12-point deficit at the first change to lead at the main break. 8-6, the Tigers 54 on the Shutterguard scoreboard. And West Perth, after having that early ascendancy, find themselves trailing by 21 points. They are 5-3-33.
Yep. So about a 34-point swing. I am a commentator, not a mathematician.
Well, it's back on the swing of Kane Mitchell. You have a look. He's got 14 touches to half-time, and along with that, 2 inside 50s as well. So he had both of those in that term. And Bailey Rogers starting to get active as well. Jack Lucy, 12 and 11 disposals as well. And if we have a look, they managed to put the clamps as such on Connor West. He had 13 touches in that first term, but it's now out to 18.
And Aaron Black, they managed to hold him possessionless, according to the score sheet. 13 disposals at the end of the first quarter, still hanging on 13. Well, unless he went off there.
Well, we have at least one disposal because he had a snap for goal before. So we see the visiting Falcons head off the ground, all still to play for. Claremont 8-6. And West Perth 5-3. So that margin, 21 points in favour of the Tigers. When we return, we'll run through some of the action-packed highlights of this opening half here at Revo Fitness Stadium and we'll be right back with all the action. Don't go anywhere.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Live pitches, courtesy of Front Row Screens. Thank you for your company this afternoon. Currently round 5 of the OPTUS WAFL season for 2021, and the Tigers looking to roll on their undefeated start to the season. They currently sit 3-0. They are 21 points to the better of the Tigers, who led at the first change by 12 points. Before an onslaught to the left of screen by the Tigers, Bailey Rogers getting active. Buller, he had a fantastic term, kicking one. And have a look at this piece of play, probably the highlight of the afternoon in Tracy. Steps around 2 tacklers, rides a bump of the third. He kicked 2 in that term to really stand up. Former Eagles draft pick. And Claremont deciding to take the game on the run. And this was good composure for Tracy to kick his second goal of that term. And Claremont just willing themselves to the contest. There's been a lot of push and shove, Luke Worthington, but the Tigers have hurt West Perth where it hurts the most, and that is on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And the push and shove has affected both teams in the free kick count and also in terms of just being distracted from the flow of the game. But Claremont really did get the jump on West Perth in that term. They sliced them through the corridor a couple of times. Really good play through the middle. We saw them in the first term trying to really safely move it along the boundary. They were being quite conservative. I think that in the second term they opened up their play style and took a few more risks. And with the quality of the midfield that they have, I think that that's the kind of footy that they can play, that they need to play and can afford to play rather than what we saw in the first.
So we saw the Tigers' revival in that second term, led by Kane Mitchell. He's up to 14 disposals.
Yep.
Lockie Martinez showing why he has appeared 3 times in a row in the WAFL Team of the Round throughs 1, 2 and 3. He's got 14 touches. For West Perth, Moulton has 2 goals for them. Also Keegan Knott, the live wire, Noah Pegararo, and also Thomas Boys. The goal kickers, 2 goals to Anthony Tracy and 1 goal apiece to Lockie Martinez.
Yep.
Callan England, Jake Patmore, Declan Hardesty and Jack Buller. So live pictures from Revo Fitness Stadium. It's half time. That allows mums, dads, aunties, uncles, grandparents to get out in the ground, enjoy some of the sunshine. And we'll be back for the second half very shortly. Well, with round 5 now underway in the WAFL, thanks to Kia, let's take a look at behind the scenes at the powerhouse that is the Subiaco Lions Football Club.
I suppose I developed my love for football when I was very young. I grew up in a sporting family. The girls went to netball on Saturday and the boys went down to Bassendean Oval and we watched Swan Districts. My uncle was a Gary Sidebottom. He played over 100 games at Swan Districts. My pop, Wally Sidebottom, played state football and also for Swan Districts. I didn't play football for year 12 at the Upper Swan Junior Footy Club. I went down there in year 12 and played in the under 18s, and I found myself at Swan Districts Colts the next year. And then the year after that I was lucky enough to make it to the Brisbane Lions. In 2001, I think to be part of history was fantastic. I really remember getting a handball out to Bossy when he's kicked that goal from the boundary line, and I remember pushing over the contest. I think John Barnes was my opponent. When I seen Bossy flash past, I remember giving him the handball and sort of folding in behind him, and I was directly behind him. He's kicked the ball and it's just gone through, and I remember running back to the centre, and this isn't over. This is such a good football team we're playing against. There was no room to relax until that siren went.
And they've beaten the chance.
When I retired in 2008, I spent some time at the Brisbane Lions, assistant coaching role, worked behind the scenes in some welfare roles and some ruck coaching. I was there for 3 years, but then I moved to the Pilbara. I worked with young Indigenous males up there, trying to get them to go to school and helping them out with their lives. And then I got the opportunity to coach the Northwest Academy through the West Australian Football Commission, and I started to really enjoy coaching that young group, and I felt like I had a responsibility to give kids the opportunity that I had. I enjoyed my time coaching in the country, but getting back into high performance was what I really wanted to do, and the opportunity was there in female football. And I moved down to Perth to be involved in the female talent pathway to coach under 18 state girls.
Bo's application really stood out to us because of his experience in the coaching world. So it wasn't so much that he played AFL. In fact, that's limited to it's his ability to connect one-on-one with people. He knew what it took to play and coach at the highest level. He'd worked at community level in Aboriginal and community engagement, so we knew he was the right package to move a group of people from where they were to where they needed to be.
The girls are, they're a joy to coach. We're really just there to give them the best opportunity, that if you get that call up to the AFLW, you can do your best when you get there.
He understands that each player needs to make their own progressions. So what drives him forward is driving a player forward. His ability to move a player with their understandings through the developmental stages and pathways would be his best attribute. We're really lucky to have support of fantastic sponsors like Kia, because they allow us to drive the game forward. Bo's been able to really drive female football, and our staff love driving the Kia cars. We've got staff that have since bought their own Kia cars as well, which is terrific. To have Kia as a sponsor to allow us to cart our people, our equipment, and to basically power and drive what we're doing inside female football is terrific.
We're trying to drive a culture here within our academy group. We also want to produce WAFL W players and good community members and people that go back and give in some way to the community. And let the girls know that whether they go on in their football, they go into a workplace, all these things that we're trying to instill in our culture here, they're transferable to the next place that you go, and it's just all part of being a good person.
Former Brisbane Lions premiership player, Bo McDonald. I believe he is coaching one of the private schools as well this season, as we've got live pictures currently of Revo Fitness Stadium. Half time, Claremont. Started the season 3 in zip and looking to go 4 in zip, currently 21-point leaders. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington with you. Luke, we've got some of the scores from around the WAFL at half time.
Yeah, so as we head around the grounds, we've got East Perth 4-2-26, trailing Swan District 7-4-46. That's live at Leederville Oval at the moment, end of the second term. Down at New Choice Homes Park, where we were last week, East Fremantle 3-5-23, Trail Perth 7-4-46. They've got a good start on them. And live at Fremantle Community Bank Oval, we have South Fremantle 8-1, really strong on the score sheet, 49. They are leading Subiaco 4-3-27. But we'll take a break and be live back at Revo Fitness Stadium for today's matchup between Claremont and West Perth. And we'll take you through for the second half after this.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Welcome back to Revo Fitness Stadium. Claremont 8-6-54 lead West Perth 5-3-33. A big swing in that second half, as we mentioned before. For Claremont, they went into the first break trailing by 12 points and they've managed to swing it around significantly. Now leading by 21 points as we see some of the youngsters on the field. Good contested possession there, but back to the league game. We'll take you through some of the disposal leaders. Connor West had a really good second quarter for West Perth. So did Shane Nelson. 18 disposals for West and 17 for Nelson. They lead the game in that statistic. On the other end, Lachlan Martinez with 14 disposals and Kane Mitchell, he also has 14. They've been really solid, those players, through the first half of footy. And we should be set up for a big second half. Claremont really used their momentum in that second quarter to take over the game, swung it around significantly, and the Falcons looked outnumbered and outmanned at a lot of points during that game. Claremont went back to what they know they can do. They stopped being conservative. They used the middle of the field. They were dangerous inside 50, and everything seemed to click like it does on any other given weekend. And maybe the first quarter we saw was just a bit of an anomaly. In the hit-out count, we can see Oliver Eastland has been dominating that one. Say what you want about the about hit-outs being a ineffective statistic. Matt Churchins, who's joining me now, but here Oliver Eastland is leading Benjamin Delaporte 14-5 in the hit-outs. As we see a great shot of one of those apartments up there. We'll be renting out an Airbnb for the next broadcast at Revo Fitness Stadium, I reckon. If you're a host, give us a yell. And we can back down to the under-9s game, or the junior footy game. But Matt Churchins, do you have any major takeaways on... So the first term we saw West Perth really dominate the game. Claremont went and made some solid quarter-time adjustments. It's West Perth's turn now to go in and make some strong adjustments and come back out firing. What do you think they should be looking to do?
Luke, if you're having a look at how the first term played out compared to the second, I think the ball movement was a bit cleaner for Claremont.
Yep.
And some of their big-name players that had drifted in and out of the game a little, as far as England and Tracy, we saw what he can offer in the forward 50 with that turn of pace and the quality finish under pressure. So Claremont just taking the game on, they've been more direct. West Perth, a little ill-disciplined,
yep,
so to speak. Claremont got hurt in that first term with the rebounding firepower that West Perth had, but that sort of seemed to sort of be stemmed during the second term, so they were getting bit with shallow 50 entries in that first term, and West Perth going down the other end and scoring. So interesting battle in the midfield. Bolton has been out in the ground for a while, probably more than what I thought he would, but he's had 7 touches, so
yep,
he is there, but he hasn't really had an impact on the game as such. But
he was off for a
Eastland,
period of time too.
I know we're talking about the hit-outs and things like that, but he's really good below his knees, Eastland, and he's a good tackler as well. Now I actually saw him lay 2 tackles in that term, but he's been credited with none.
Short-changed here.
A little short-changed by the statisticians, but and he does well. He gets up in the face as well, and he tries to win his own ball sometimes too.
And here's a player at the top of the score sheet. We can see here in jersey number and tackle count, Kane Mitchell has been all over the field today. 3 tackles that he's been credited with. He's kicked it inside 50 twice, 9 kicks and 5 handballs for 14 disposals. So really solid all around the field. You can tell as a commentator when you're saying someone's name a lot, and that's someone that we've been calling a lot today.
I just think, I know it's early stage of the season, but you look at it's an interesting part of the season, because if you have a look at Claremont, they started with 3 pretty comfortable wins, 24 points over Swan District, 16 points over the flag favourites or the previous year's premiers, and then they towel up Perth. They're playing West Perth today, who their only win's been against a weakened West Coast Eagles reserve lineup. But you have a look at next week. I mean, obviously they've got to get through this tough second half, and then it's potentially going to be a top-of-the-table clash next week with Subiaco. I know that they're trailing at the moment at South Fremantle, but it could potentially be a top-of-the-table clash next week for them. And then you have a look at West Perth that have to go, will be at home to Swan Districts, who are currently sitting third. And they're doing it pretty handsomely over East Perth, who have been disappointing in the early stages. But I just feel that this next week and a half of footy is going to set up and really sort of weed out some of the contenders from the pretenders, really. Yeah,
a crucial period of footy coming up for most teams in the WAFL. I mean, particularly West Perth, who would maybe move into the 8 after today if they can get the win here. But yeah, Claremont setting themselves up quite nicely.
We said during the call with West Perth, they've won, or currently have won all 4 of their first term, so they get off to fast starts, and then their effort areas in that term, I think, dipped a little, but they'll need to finish strong because, as we said, it's going to be a tough run-in over the next couple of weeks. A couple of the Tigers players going through their warm-ups, a couple of jumper changes we've had throughout the afternoon as well.
Love seeing the number 71 out there. Riveting stuff.
Yeah, the kit man kept on his toes there, surely.
The parent that has been elected to wash the jumpers after the game will have a bit more work to do today.
I think that's more in your sort of Wembley junior under 12s and 14s, that kind of
maybe that shows when I stopped playing.
Not at elite level. Luke? I know you've probably moved from junior footy to your ice hockey, but I mean, things may have changed at senior football level.
I don't know.
So one more game to round out the round, as we said tomorrow. Peel taking on the West Coast Eagles at 7th versus 9th. The prelude to the big one at Optus Stadium. Tell you what, the diehard fans that are making that trip, I tip my hat to them for getting there for that. So
yeah, that would be a big day of travel. Luckily, you got the Mandurah train line, so just a straight trip to the...
As West Perth go through their final preparations, we can just run through some of the reserve score, actually. We don't get to tend to have a look at the Magoos that often, but Swan Districts with a convincing win over East Perth today in the 2s at Leederville Oval, to the tune of 62 points in that one. The mighty Redlegs, the Perth Demons getting up over East Fremantle, 12-14-86 to East Fremantle's 7-6-48. And then the Claremont Reserves and West Perth, bit of a tighter game, but it was the Tigers that prevailed 11-11-77 to 8-9-57. We welcome any viewers around our great state in regional areas tuning in this afternoon. And then South Fremantle with an 11-point win over Subiaco. That was at Fremantle Community Bank Oval earlier today in the reserves, 10-12-72 to 9-7-61. As we see West Perth go to set up into position, they'll be kicking to the scoring end of the ground, that is for sure.
Yep.
13 goals have been kicked, 10 of which to the left of screen.
Maybe we've underestimated the wind here a little bit.
Yeah. And we've just been informed that both teams will be short of a player at this stage, so only 3 on the interchange. 4. And 3 for West Perth by the looks. Interesting, we'll keep an eye on that. Not the start that the team trailing, not known for finishing off games as well. So Eastland in the ruck will lock horns with Delaport. Junior Footy Club, the Magpies. Connor West has been a ball magnet. Held to 5 touches in that second term, and that other man on screen, Martinez, 14 disposals, looking to be nominated for his 4th team of the round in a row. Skewiff bounce, the umpires let it play. Eastland wins it down. Delaporte lost the ball. He'll receive the hand pass. Fires off a hand pass straight into the face of his teammate. No prior opportunity. Will reset from the left edge of the bullseyes. Plenty of bodies can move around the ball now. Only the restrictions on the opening and quarter time bounces also after scores. Bit of a tumbling ball. Now there's a hole going the way of Keegan Knott. In fact, he's going to hand it off to a teammate so they can... Pecoraro, well, that was ambitious to say the least. Misses, just scrapes it through for a minor score, but the first one of this third term moves the margin back now on the Shutterguard scoreboard to an even 20 points. Martinez, touch number 16. To the outer side of the ground, players having to contend with the dipping sun on that outer side of the ground. As well judged by Hardesty. Back to Martinez, leading possession winner on the ground now for Claremont. A slow build-up play into the hands of Ryan Lim. Started in a 6 jumper. He's wearing 7-1. It's got a little subtraction sign in between the 2 numbers, I'm sure of it. The umpire letting this play. I thought there was a whistle. Now there's a high shot coming back the way of Claremont and into that. Hands to the man, Ryan Lim. Makes an unbelievable cup of coffee. Used to work on Cambridge Street a couple of years ago. Used to bump into him down there. So you can do it on and off the football. Talented young man. Kick up towards full forward. Mitchell applying the forward line pressure. Oh, as his boy turned, he went the wrong way.
Got him.
And Buller, who has good closing speed for a big man, ran him down. So he had 2 options, kick it or continue to run towards the boundary line. Chose the third option, got mowed down. Backpedal towards his own goal, and Buller a chance to add to his 1 goal so far. He's kicked 4 goals, 3 on the season, so slightly better than 50%. And the windsock on the outer side of the ground will suggest that this kick will be pushed from right to left as he starts his approach. It floats awkwardly, but effectively. Claremont, perfect start for them. They move now to 9,660 on the Shutterguard scoreboard. West Perth 5,434, and if they're not careful, Luke Worthington, this could get out of hand.
Yeah, not the start that West Perth wanted. Not the start they wanted at all. That was really not a great effort inside their defensive 50 to try and clear the ball out. Got caught holding the ball, and just gave Claremont a chance that they can't be giving them in situations like this. And West Perth have a lot of work to do now, down by 4 goals.
5 goals on the season for Jack Buller from Scotch. So played for Cottesloe Junior Footy Club.
So really solid start for Claremont. And here we go again. Rucks go up as the footy continues. Crumbed off the ground by West Perth. Handball over the back from Nelson. Crumbed off the ground by Claremont. They kick it to the top of centre half forward. Trying to take the mark there, it was Barton. Ball spills along the ground. Looks like it might be wrapped up. It is. So on the paint of the forward 50 for Claremont, there'll be a ball up. Hands go up again. Uncontested tap. Was one down by Eastland. Wrapped up one more time. West Perth gaining 1.5 metre of field advantage during that sequence. Tap taken down, and it went in the direction of Black, but it's going to be turned over to Claremont now, so someone might have been held. And it's going to be Eastland with a kick inside 50, moves it down low, ball missed everybody, might trickle out of bounds, and it does.
Wonder what the record is for free kicks off the ball. They could give it a nudge today.
maybe in the 70s and 80s, they might have set some big records.
They just let it go.
It's true. That is true. Yeah. So they go up for it. Handball out of a contest favours West Perth. Snapping kick, miss Riddick, but goes over the top in the direction of Delaporte. Spreading it across the field. Good job here, they move it through the corridor. Can they get some numbers forward now that they have good field position, West Perth?
I don't know if he took that cleanly. That's like one of those catches at gully where you just sort of roll over and throw the ball up.
And speaking of not very clean catches, West just fumbles that one out. Ball trickles out to the wing. Mitchell's going to collect it on the boundary, and the kick goes out on the full. So West Perth, the beneficiaries of a mistake right after they just fumbled it in the middle there.
It's off the back of a lot of his good work in that second term. That's what's allowed the Tigers to be leading on the scoreboard.
So Black stabs it to the top of the 50. Claremont trying to swarm the ball. They're going to push it back and get themselves out of trouble. Might not have been 15, it's not. Collected now by Rogers. Handball through the middle. Claremont are going to try and work it through the corridor. No, they'll switch it out to the near wing, and he'll be gone there. Yep, holding the ball. So West Perth now, Black's going to chip it across into the middle, and the kick unfortunately went over the top of Connell Lynch. Looks like Claremont could get a turnover here. It's Barton moving it out to Lim. Claremont will slow things down. Good job there from Claremont to get the turnover, and just some not very clean footy in the middle for West Perth. And Claremont, with numbers on the far side of the field, are going to move it across without much trouble. Kick goes high up into the air, taken down by
that's
Barton.
unnecessary.
And that
has to be 50, doesn't it?
It is, yep. I mean, I wonder if it was 50 originally or if it was 50 for the second shove. But Isaac Barton, he's had a really, really good game playing at right half forward. He moved in across there, took a solid mark. He's put his body on the line at every situation. Probably about 7 or 8 marks that he's taken at the top of centre half forward and right half forward.
For a man that stands 174
he's probably,
centimetres as well.
Probably one of the shortest men on the field as well. And he's just essentially getting underneath people, and they're missing the overhead marks, and he's taken it right on the chest.
Mark of the afternoon.
I think he's been shortchanged there. And that goes straight through the middle, no problem whatsoever, and he receives a shove for his troubles one more time.
Well, to be fair, he did celebrate right in his opponent's face, but ill discipline cost.
I'm here to tell you that I would be too.
Replay courtesy of CD Dodd. And we'll have a look at this celebration. Lets him know that it's the goal umpire's indication.
A lot of people would hate that, but I don't mind it.
Not backwards and coming forward is.
It's better than that celebration is better than the NRL head pat on the opponent. I'll take that over that.
Shutterguard scoreboard, and that is the biggest lead of the afternoon. 32 points for Claremont. And the first time that we've seen back-to-back goals being kicked to the right of your screen, which is into the breeze at the moment. Free kick. Again, another centre square infringement, whether it be stepping into the square or poor maths. Delaporte will take it. Bright green matching wheels to the umpires. Feigns a hand pass, gives it to the second option, which is Wilhelm. Normally just a wonderful user of the football, and you talk him up and he absolutely mongrels one to centre half forward. Kick up towards Riddick. West, who was good in the first term, can he get a little bit of reward and break this glut of goals? Did it pitch inside the paint? No, it didn't. So out of bounds on the full. And the Tigers defender having to go into the front yard or the backyard of one of the units. I wonder if they charge the residents $15 if they want to come out in the balcony on game day. Might be a bit stiff. They bring it in now, Rogers. Fantastic player that he is. Mitchell having to contend with the sun and a dropping footy, manages to do it easily. We've got a bit of a wrestle on the broadcast wing, but I'll keep you with the action as Mitchell racks up 2. It's almost a bit of WWE wrestling at the moment, honestly. I hope these teams are parked in different car parks tonight. Off fist and kicks up the chimney flute and out of bounds and off hands. So luckily, not the turnover ball there for the Tigers.
That's actually gone into a balcony.
Yeah. So we'll look for the spare football, which are located behind the big sticks. Chance for us to draw breath. 10-6-66. The Tigers. West Perth 5-4-34. That's brought to you courtesy of Shutterguard. Bring you all the action. Matt Chechen's here alongside Luke Worthington. Thanks again to Front Row Screens. Wonderful supporters of football here in WA. Not only in the men's but also the women's W competition. Tigers spin their way out of trouble. They tumble it up towards 50. That's a good contested mark. Reading the drop of the football well was Alexandra. Now he just loads up and goes bang.
That is a bomb.
From all of 50 and then points to his opponent. So West Perth needed a response because the Tigers were on a roll and they get that off one step. So have a look at this replay thanks to CD Dodd. The new changing in rules, not allowing the player to get laterally over there to try and affect anything, and manages to sail through, padding height through the goal. So West Perth, they were asked the question. They still got a lot of work to do. And you suggest they want to make use of this breeze in this third term. Shutterguard scoreboard 10-6-66. The Tigers still with the edge by 26 points.
West Perth are going to need more of that in their response to Claremont in the third term, and maybe lower the unnecessary free kick count. That would help them get back in significantly too at this point. Bounce goes sideways. Won't be having any of that. We'll see a ball up in the middle now. Big men go up for it. Taken off the ground. No, it's going to be holding the man in favour of Claremont. So the free kick count was pretty even as we went into this term, but it might be starting to move in Claremont's direction. We'll get an update on the exact numbers soon. So running with the footy now, it's Bolton. Stabbing kick finds Lim on the wing. Lim to the man on the lead, and a strong mark is taken inside 50. Good contested mark there on the run was taken in by Manuel. Manuel has kicked 11 goals, 3 on the season so far. And here he is looking for his first of the afternoon. Hasn't had a set shot on goal after kicking 3 goals in the first and second rounds. 4 goals in the third round. And here he is for his first set shot today. About 45 metres out, just under a 45-degree angle. Distance is no problem. It moves to the right a little, and that's great. Manuel with the set shot, snipes it through. And Claremont extend their lead to 32 points. And here's the replay of the kick again. You can kind of see it move with the. You could see it move with the wind from the broadcast position that we have. He did a really good job. It moved inside. Took kind of bit of a boomerang flight path into the back of the goals.
Well, 11 goals and 3 blemishes on the season. Yes, indicates he's pretty good in front of the big stick.
12 goals, 3. That was a really smart kick. It was a goal kicker's kick. It was very smart. So ready to get back underway again now. Umpire getting ready for the bounce this time. Had some troubles just before. Looks good. So they go up for it. Play on. Claremont trying to crumb it. Snap around the body. Move to the outside of the centre square. Here's Barton. He's been busy today. Getting tied up with Shannon. Ball right by the boundary. Handball out the back. Gets smothered. Really good smother there by West Perth. They held them up quite well in that position. The kick from Edwards, or the would-be kick from Edwards, was looking dangerous. They go up for it again. Tap down. Riddick gets a good grab on Mountford. Mountford, when he played for North Melbourne, debuted against the West Coast Eagles in Docklands after being born in Western Australia. Would have been quite the interesting experience. And now West Perth have the chance to move it through the corridor. They move it out further to the side of the centre square. Now to the top of the 50. They're going to be a chance here to move it in. Here's Connell Lynch, and On the lead, he finds Tyson Moulton, who's been really solid today. 3 goals this year for Moulton, and it looks like he's going to back himself from here.
Man's only the man off the ground for West Perth. That will be a big loss if he doesn't return. He had 11 marks in that game against Subiaco. It was also in the team of the round in round 2, so one of the more experienced campaigners for
An
West Perth.
average of 34 disposals that they're losing from that too. So here he is backing himself from the top of the 50-metre arc. Distance isn't a problem, but it just sails to the right-hand side.
Misses the lot. So 32 points thanks to Shutterguard. That lead to the Tigers just under halfway through this third term. And as the ball's on the outer side. Now Martinez, not sure why he elected to play on. He was hemmed in the pocket. Could this cost them a goal? And might be able to get out of trouble. No one would be more relieved than Lockie Martinez. Here come the Tigers. Long way to run with the footy without bouncing it. Bit of a stray kick. Mark's not going to be paid. Hand pass over towards Mitchell. Now he's got a man over the top in Barton. He elects to just tumble it towards him via the ground. Well done, Barton. Knew he was going to be steamrolled and just dinked it on the right boot to Buller. And the first bit of good sportsmanship that we've seen this afternoon as Buller helps Black to his feet. A chance for him to go back for his second of the afternoon by my count. No, it could be a chance for his third.
It'll be for his third. He's 2 goals, 3.
Second in this term.
So it's his 6th shot on goal. Could even it out to 50%.
Well,
came into the game.
He's leaving, no doubt, with the size of the run-up. He's almost started it from the interchange gates as he approaches. Can he get his third? You bet he can. And the fist pump, and rightly so. 3 goals for the afternoon, 2 of which have occurred in this term. To the non-scoring end of the ground, that theory is starting to go out of the window as now Claremont further go ahead, 12-6-78 on the Shutterguard scoreboard. West Perth 6-4-40 as we see the celebration. Thanks again to CD Dodd. As we wait the ball to come back in the middle, I can update you with what's happening around the grounds. Halfway through the third term at Leederville Oval, and after kicking 6 goals to naught, Swan Districts against East Perth have stalled. They're currently at 8-4-52, and East Perth resurging there at 5-7-37. So same amount of scoring shots. They reduced the margin, but the game's still in control of the Black Ducks. Perth Demons, just 10 minutes into that third term, currently leading by 30 points over East Fremantle. And South Fremantle still in control, well in control against Subiaco, 10-3-63 to Subiaco 4-4-28, as we await the umpire to put an end to the arm wrestle here at midfield, and we'll send it up aloft. Eastland has been so impressive today. Can even catch the ball between his knees. How about that? Lim, that was an awkward looking hand pass, and surely it was a throw. It was. Good job from the umpires. Chance for West to set up. 13 touches in the opening term. He'll kick literally from the middle of Revo Fitness Stadium and does it perfectly. To Moulton. Now, to any other player, I'd probably say he's too far out to score. But we saw from his last effort, and it did miss.
Went 51 off about 3 steps.
Yep, so he's going to line up. 45-degree angle. We'll have the aid of a stiff breeze. It'll take the flight of the ball from left to right of the big sticks. Much needed goal for West Perth, and he's absolutely mongreled it. I'm 100% with putting the mocker on people this afternoon. I'm going to just zip my mouth. Spun in the tackle, but getting the effective hand pass was Ben Edwards. They run into trouble, up towards Knott. He's outsized. Here's Moulton. Can he make amends for that set shot before? No, he can't. He misses to the left now, matching his missing to the right before, and they turn it over. So Martinez, the leading ball winner on the ground. Very close to that left-hand upright. Peels off the kick. Chance for another touch. As they move through the middle of the ground. Looping hand pass to a flat-footed player. Here comes Martinez again. Can have one bounce. Looks to draw an opponent. Does so. Beautifully just dinks it over the top. Into the breeze to Baldwin. Baldwin now linking up. They're out now, the Tigers. Can the lead from Buller be honoured? Yes, it can. Big, strong, strapping player at full pace coming out. Can he kick 3 in a term? This will take his best effort because it's literally right into the teeth of that breeze. So he wouldn't suggest the ball would move between the goalposts, but he's kicking into a very stiff breeze. So we've seen the set shots float awkwardly or unconventionally. Maybe the death rattle might start for West Perth if Buller can float this one through, and you can see how it sort of tumbles end over end, but volleyed off the ground.
Got it.
How about that opportunistic goal? Harrison McCracken. The 37, number 37, he's kicked 6 straight. We can make that 7 for the season. Something that you'd like to probably see at Anfield or Old Trafford in the round ball game. As we have a look, thanks to CD Dodd, an awkward spinning ball. We're looking for the celebration. Comes off hands and Johnny on the spot, or in this case, Harry on the spot. McCracken volleys it through. Player of the round last week. Rather team of the round last week. After he kicked 4 goals against Perth. Pops up with one there. That was opportunistic to say the least. Ball back in the middle. 44 points is the largest of the afternoon.
Ready to get going again, and West Perth finding themselves in a little bit of trouble now. As they go up for it, went out of the centre circle. A couple of times this has happened today. It was happening last week at the game we were at East Fremantle too. Middle of the centre circles getting torn up a little bit in these games. So the ball's collected by West. Moved outside where it's found by Riddick. Riddick with a good run. Off his unfavoured foot. Finds a really good option at the top of the paint. It's West again. West moving around the mark. Kick around the body into full forward. And that's a snap taken on off a step by Pegararo. And it goes through for a behind. So now running into the protected area, Martinez.
Would probably want their spearhead in the goal square for that passage of play.
And that was a really good play out from fullback. They managed to move it right into the corridor. Coming through with steam now, it's Mania. Moving it in over the top. They could be a chance here if he collects it, and it's going to trickle out of bounds.
Not a bad chase from Gordanen there, because he gave his opponent probably about a 3 or 4 metre head start, managed to close the space and then just sort of force that stoppage in the pocket.
Yep, got him while he was trying to be busy tracking the ball. So the throw in deep in West Perth's territory. Going up for it. Tap one down by Claremont, but collected by West. Connor West, 30 disposals apiece in his 2 league games this year. He'll be turning 22 in a week, and he collects the footy one more time. Kick off the unfavoured foot, goes over the top of the one-on-one.
One of the West Perth players, the big man in Delaport, is looking very proppy on the ground, kind of hoping that that's cramped for him, but he doesn't look to be stretching, so he's on his haunches at the moment. They're already down 1 rotation so far, with Manzoni off the ground, and now the trainer's heading over to the big man. So Black almost had to nominate for the ruck. That is truly David v Goliath. Socket inside 50. In goes Lim. Ran past the football too quickly. Wilhelm ducks his head. Is that a free kick? No. In fact, it's not Wilhelm. It's the number 42 and Thomas Boyce. Getting back to Wilhelm, you know, in 2017 he wore 5 different numbers. So either he was picking a lot of fights or they were running out of his size. I'm not sure what was happening there. Yeah. He wore the 7, 16, 43 and 55 and then 17, which he's had for the last 4 years. So maybe just having too many wardrobe changes. Not. Kicks them up towards full forward. Keitel back on the ground but just lost his feet at the wrong time. Moulton closing speed. Is that adequate disposal? Yes, said the umpire. Wraps him up again, but they live to fight another day to the defenders for the Tigers. Eastland marks, plays on immediately. They're through the middle of the ground now. Taking the game on, spearing ball inside 50. Well, thereabouts is taken and they play on immediately. So the hand pass received by Edwards. Feigns the hand pass, steps onto his right boot. pushed off the kick. Will it be marked? No, it won't, but the next best result is the boundary throw-in, as we see the offering of free puppies from Ben Edwards, but he couldn't finish his good work. Ball in, 24 and 3/4 minutes played on the Shutterguard scoreboard. 44 points to the Tigers, who trailed by 2 goals at quarter time. Shallow throw-in. West does well in heavy traffic. Gains 40 metres with the clearing kick. Tackles have stuck for both teams today. No prior. Wait and see what the umpire says. Ryan Lim has spent a lot of time on the turf this afternoon, so another ball up. Eastland can win that easily with Delaport off the ground currently. Kick won't have travelled the required distance. Lim did well to just palm it down. Here come Claremont back inside 50. Good strong body work there from the West Perth defender in Gordon. So he's had a couple of good passages of play. Black, time to gather. Comes in ball with a hand pass. Very slow in getting the ball, and now they've turned it over. So here come the Tigers now. Off the right boot of McCracken. Good composure and spots an open forward in Jake Patmore. Saw his clean pair of heels in the second term and then tried to do it earlier today and got pinged holding the ball, and he moves it back to the ruckman in Eastland. So a bit of lax defending now for West Perth in the closing stages over 26 minutes of this third term. This will take Eastland's best effort. Big man hemmed in that pocket. Has kicked 1 this season, as we said, from Royals Footy Club in Albany. They produced Michael Gardner, West Coast Eagles and St Kilda fame. Eastland across the face of goal. 1 score.
Favourite player of mine when I was a kid, Michael Gardner, for some reason. Did love ruckman. Kind of got in there by default, I think. Now, back to the footy, moving it up. It's marked by West. Took it in on the chest and takes a run.
Playing a bit of a lone hand at the moment. That's his 25th disposal for West Perth.
Yeah, wow. So, crumbed well by Nelson. Crumbed by Nelson again. Collected by Mountford. Claremont get possession of the footy. They've turned it over. Moving it into a hard one-on-one contest. Ball to ground again.
That's Mountford's, that's Mountford's 6th tackle. He leads that category on the ground, so he's providing a bit of spark at the coalface today. Only 16 touches, but it's his heavy body work around the ground that's providing to be telling at the moment.
Going up for it, tapped down, collected well by Edwards. West Perth get possession of the footy though out of the pack. Good job there. Moving it forward into a one-on-one contest. Davis nearly had it. Ball dangerously close to the boundary. Moved across now to Martinez. Kick into a pack and a good strong mark taken overhead by Ben Edwards.
He's had a very good third term.
Good passage by him too.
You know, things aren't going well for West Perth when Keitel, who's the leading goal kicker so far and was last year, is getting his touches on the defensive arc of 50.
So a big contest there was broken up in the middle. And now a kick across the top of centre half forward and a mark taken by Ryan Lim.
All part of the plan, surely, for Patmore. We've seen him.
Lim, good job to get in underneath the ball there, and he's going to back himself from just outside 50.
You're effectively going to have to kick this 55, 60 metres if you want to get into the breeze, but it's going back.
Be interesting to see how he goes for distance here. Very slight angle. And here's Lim. Chips it forward onto a man on the lead. It's Barton. And Barton, one of the better... Oh, no.
I got too cute.
Just as I was about to pump him up, kicks it straight into the man who smothers it down. But Claremont, again, catch out West Perth there, and they've moved it right back to centre half forward, and it'll be Martinez this time taking Claremont's.
His 25th disposal as well, if he wants to actually shoot for goal and not palm it off like his teammates have done. previous two entries.
Claremont's third, at least line up for a set shot on goal here. Now here is Martinez. Runs in, kick doesn't look great, didn't have the distance. So West Perth trying to move it out of trouble now. They fumble it along. Ball might be turned over to Claremont, and that's going to wrap it up for the third term. Claremont 13 goals 7-85. They lead West Perth 6-5-41, and again it was all Claremont in that second term. They add a further 14 points to their lead that they took into halftime.
Yep, so the 21-point lead now out to 44 points, so that margin 23 points. Those that can't do teach. Yeah, look, we turned for home here, obviously at Revo Fitness Stadium, and West Perth showing a little bit of spark in that third term, but it was Claremont kicking into a stiff breeze that really have taken this round 5 contest by the scruff of the neck. How will it pan out? Well, stick around to find out. We'll be right back at Revo Fitness Stadium for OPTUS WAFL round 5 action. Don't go anywhere.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Welcome back as we take a look at the Claremont huddle. A relaxed looking group of blokes we have down there, and it has been all them for the second and third term as we take you to the CD dot replay of the shot on goal from Jack Buller. Absolutely sniped it through the middle as we see the close-up of him taking it there. Here's some really good work through the corridor for Claremont, but it was the wrap-up tackle there from West Perth that put them into a bit of trouble in that instance. Now we can see the goal here from Barton. Extracurriculars after that one. Good play here from West Perth that we can see from Alexandra, and that was that about 2.5 step, 51-metre bomb that he took in the middle of that third term. Lim in the number 71 jersey after he got into an altercation in the first term.
Probably need to use plural for the altercations.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of them this afternoon.
There was a good one from Manuel. That was Manuel's first goal today, and he's 12 goals, 3 on the season now.
Just as our audience can have a look at some of these replays, we just go around the grounds for the OPTUS WAFL season round 5 2021, and Swan Districts, after having a 37-point lead at quarter time, now have had that reduced to just 5 points against East Perth, looking for their first win. So the Royals, maybe not as accurate as they want to be, but they fought their way back. At three-quarter time, they're 6 goals, 12-48, trailing 8-5-53. So all to play for there.
Go on the mighty Royals.
At Leederville Oval, the mighty Perth Demons, not that I'm biased, 9-6-60, leading East Fremantle 4-6-30. East Fremantle have been the surprise packet so far this season, and Perth looking to rebound after a couple of disappointing performances against Swan Districts and also Claremont in previous rounds. And as they not quite yet at three-quarter time at Fremantle Community Bank Oval, it is South Fremantle in command, 12-6-78 to Subiaco's 6-5-41. So the Royals snapping at the heels of Swan Districts and could provide what would be considered, and rightfully so, a boil over. So we'll keep an eye on that game throughout. Now the third term, as we have a look at West Perth huddle, there'll be plenty of changes that need to be made. 21 points the lead was for the Tigers at halftime after they trailed by 2 goals to West Perth in that opening term. Saw that lead now balloon out to 44 points. Martinez has been superb for the Tigers. 25 disposals. He had 11 in that third quarter alone. Eastland has dominated out of the middle. 19 disposals, Luke. Yep. He's taken 9 marks, which is leading that category on the ground, and also 3 inside 50s. Not a bad day's work for the big man.
Yep.
And currently for the team trailing, Nelson with 26 touches, West 25 disposals, but keeping in mind he had 13 of those in the opening term, so over 2 quarters has had just 12 disposals. So we've seen the West Perth ruckman in Delaporte coming gingerly off the ground in the third term, and also they've lost another body in Manzoni, obviously an experienced campaigner. 136th game, but it doesn't look like he will feature. So all to do for West Perth. We're not going to write anyone off. There is Eastland Mountford, who leads the game in tackles. He's laid 6, former North Melbourne product, and Ryan Lim making his way out to the outer wing.
West Perth are going to want to put on a good fourth term here, because they have the lead quite considerably for percentage with across bottom half teams and also across teams in the league. Really, they're sitting quite well at 122%. So they don't want to drop that too much, because it could shift them around down to maybe even 8th after today.
But in saying that, Luke, statistically they're a pretty poor fourth quarter team. So let's see if they can buck that trend.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for the percentage that they've built up
try and get on board for what's next up for them, which will be Swan Districts at home up there, up in the north of Perth, and Swan Districts in an arm wrestle with East Perth. So both teams might have a bit to play for next week. So umpire is in position, Rob McCaw, ready to get us underway. Start of the fourth term. West Perth to the right of your screen into a very stiff breeze. And Claremont in the navy blue and gold kicking to the left of your screen, which is was bathed in sunshine, now with shadows over creeping. So here come the Tigers. A couple of quick goals will shut the door permanently, you would think, on West Perth. Buller has been pretty good today. That hand pass left a lot to be desired. In at ground level, he ducked. Riding the high shot was Shane Nelson. Touch number 26 for him. Free kick against Rogers, who gets whacked in the ribs for good measure. And now they play on. So the mark taken at centre half back. Connor Lynch moves it further afield, up towards Moulton. Well done there from Martinez. Could almost be best on ground. Kicks out to a vacant wing. Now Lim must have tread on a sprinkler head or a weed or something on the outer side of the ground, because he looked like Bambi on ice. They've turned it over. Well read from the Tigers. Here's Patmore. Inside 50. Good spoil on the footy. Killing the contest there was Alexandre, and he knocks it over the line for a boundary throw in.
So what can West Perth do in the hit-outs here with Delaporte coming off earlier in the third term? We'll see. They go up for it. Misses everyone. Crumbed by West. He goes down into a pack of Tigers. And it'll be taken in by the umpire. Hands go up one more time. Claremont get the better of that one. Snap around the body, goes inside 50, just at the top of right half forward. Tap down, Claremont have it again. Could be a chance here. A shot on goal on the outside of the boot hits the post. And that was unfortunate for Martinez. He's been racking up the disposals, Martinez, in the last 3 games for Claremont. And here he is leading the charge for them today again. That was his 27th touch of the footy. He moves into equal lead for the match with Shane Nelson of West Perth, who's been playing a brilliant game as well. And that was an interesting kick there that was overran by Bolton. And he takes the mark at the top of right half forward. Let's see what he does here. I don't think he's going to go for the set shot. No, he's absolutely not. So he chips it right down to the top of full forward. Claremont went up for it. It was Mania who made the attempt, and West Perth are going to go down to ground. And now the umpire with the footy after he called it in. So we're back underway here. Claremont have it. Could be a chance here. Lim collecting it was Barton out of the pack, and off a step he's kicked another goal. Isaac Barton, outstanding performance by him today, and that is his second. Really being rewarded for his efforts today, Barton. He's been tough and physical. Look at him here, the smallest player in the pack. There's 3 Falcons surrounding him. He manages to take it off a step and snaps it in. So Barton has just been spectacular.
174 centimetres tall and 65 kilograms, so not much of him, but he's an absolute live wire, and what a great finish and getting reward too. So both of his goals in the second half. It's good to be back on air. It's
welcome back.
Well, my wife has asked for years for me to have an off switch, and it turns out she only needed to contact front row screens after all. So if I see them handing out a business card to Chelsea later, I'll start to get a little nervous. So we're back in the middle. Delaporte not keeping his spot in the ruck, so we hope he's going to be okay, as is his teammate in man's only. So here come West Perth. West feigns the hand pass, runs his measure up towards Martinez. 2 bites of the footy. Mark not paid. Good work in pretty thick traffic there from Lucy. Now kick was smothered and almost falconed back onto him was Jason Carter. Riddick tries to tow the ball. Couldn't pick it up. Martinez again looks to hand pass to himself. Couldn't gather. Lim back in turn with Edwards. He was pretty good in that third term. They move it laterally off the boot of Lucy, and they can just take the air out of the footy now through Rogers. Defensive point of the centre square. They look to play on. Lim. Plenty of ground to take. Spearing passes a beauty onto the chest now of his teammate in Bolton. Bolton, we know how good he is with footy in hand, and he honours the leader, Buller, who has been a real handful out in the lead this afternoon. Kicked 1 in the first term and 2 goals in the third term, so all to the right of screen. A chance for him to get his 4th of the afternoon.
Bolton's moved to right half forward for this 4th quarter, and he's been really solid there. That's the second mark that he's taken on the flank there, and the second.
I think anywhere you place that man on the football field, he's going to excel. So Buller for goal number 4. Goal umpire with some nifty footwork to the right, but it snuck home. Tremendous set shot, and it just sneaks inside the left-hand goal post for his 4th of the afternoon, and Buller now moves to 7 goals 3 thanks to CD Dodd. Awkward sort of ball drop on that one, but isn't it effective? And he gives the single python straight away as it left his boot. He knew it was going to sail through. So this is just icing on a very, very nice cake at the moment for the Tigers after being up against in that first term. 15-8-98 now on the Shutterguard scoreboard in West Perth. Treading water, barely with their chin above the water. 6-5-41, and we have travelled 6.5 minutes in this final term.
West Perth not looking their best at all in the last 3 quarters of footy, and time might feel like it's moving slowly for them as it ticks down.
10.5 minutes elapsed at Leederville Oval. Swan District still with a 4-point edge.
Now both teams trying to move it through trying to collect it in the corridor, and there's a Claremont player that's gone down to ground. It'll be a free kick in their favour. Play on. Handball from Martinez. They're moving it to the outside now. Ball goes inside 50. It's a high flyer into a pack, and standing right at the back of it was Wilhelm. Wilhelm's going to run forward a bit, kicks it into a one-on-one, goes over the back now. Claremont could be a chance. Kick goes down to full forward, collected off the ground by West Perth. They're going to try and move themselves out of trouble. Claremont putting them in a bit of danger, and it looks like Hamilton just got clipped on the maybe the eye there. I think he might have got a poke in the eye from an errant hand. Seems like there was no intent in that one. I mean, if there was, knowing this game, there'd be about 7 bodies around there having a melee. Nelson slows things down. Along the boundary, he finds Gordonen, averaging 15 disposals this year. Gordonen kicks it into a pack on the near wing. Collected off the ground from Nelson. Nelson moving it around. And the footy's moved up the wing, but Claremont are going to turn it straight over.
No, they give him a free kick.
So it was a push in the back,
yeah,
I
two
think.
hands in the back. I don't think anything that goes around there, even if you're not propelling someone forward.
The kick inside 50 from Moulton goes into a pack, and that was a strong intercept mark taken by Dylan Smallwood. And they do say that he's one of the tougher intercept markers in the competition, and obviously being from Albany and playing like that.
Played for the Albany Sharks, who I think registered their 3rd win just recently, because they came into the competition a few years back and have struggled, but things are going well. I think his relatives, Smallwood, synonymous down there in the Albany region. So
here he is again. Torpedo goes to the near wing, and that was a really good mark taken at the back of the pack. Claremont have a few numbers on the... No, West Perth have actually swarmed them there. The Falcons came in hard, and now Munns moves it along to Moulton. Kick might have been out on the full. No, the umpire said that it stayed in. From our position here, it looked like it had already crossed the line. Tried to be clever with the kick. It takes a bounce, and now kicking it inside 50 is Burke, and a strong overhead mark.
Well, this is the first sight that he's had all afternoon, Keitel.
Keitel, yep.
I mean, we've seen him numerous occasions having to run up the wing and even past it back into his defensive lines to try and get his hands on the footy, and that is, I would say, probably his first mark inside forward 50.
I would be on the same path as you. So Keitel, the big 6'5" forward, 100 games as a Falcon last year. Reached the milestone, and that one just sails to the right. So the Falcons' woes in this game continue. They move to 6 goals, 7.
That was only his 2nd mark for the afternoon. So the Tigers bring it in. Martinez chips beautifully. Brilliantly weighted kick, running hard on the receiving end of this now. Ball in hand of Jason Carter, in turn moving it to Mania. Carter has pulled up Proppy, and he's coming off the ground for Claremont, so keep an eye on that one. Wilhelm, good spoil. Can they keep it alive? Clever little hand pass along the turf. Wilhelm kept his composure. West Perth moving it by hand. I did say pre-game that these two are predominantly kick-first teams, but they're not showing it this afternoon. Strong tackle. Mania with the intercept. Martinez. Hand pass out towards Lim. Bobbles around. Riddick through that. Umpire didn't think so. Back to Knott. Knott in ball with a hand pass. Still the bodies go flying. Well done West again. West Perth trying to get numbers. Series of hand pass. Sees it in the hands of Rogers. And beautifully transfers play to the outer side to Mitchell. Mitchell's got the run in Tracy over the top. Haven't seen anything of him apart from his 2 goals in that 2nd term. Honors the lead there, out in the stretch of Manuel. Manuel, eyes in the sun, loads up, looks for Buller. Can he mark it? No. Crumbs, snaps around the corner for his 5th. Wouldn't have mattered because it's off hands. Ball was touched off the boot and through for a minor score.
Good pressure there from Claremont. They're getting really on top of West Perth in this game, and that's going to be some good signs coming up for their match next round as they look to put together a really strong season that'll see them.
So Lockie Martinez up to 32 disposals, but he hasn't had an inside 50. I mean, obviously that's hard running across half back, and Shane Nelson leading the way at the moment, the leading possession winner for West Perth with 32 as the Falcons turn it over again.
Down on the field, an errant kick from the Falcons finds England.
Faded in and out of the game this afternoon.
Drafted by the Eagles, England was. Played for East Perth in the Waffle because of that, but did start with Claremont. 5 goals this season for his 6th. Rushed over the line. Would have been sailing out to the right-hand side anyway, if it had the distance. West Perth ready to get things back underway.
Swan Districts have given themselves a little bit of breathing room and have kicked 2 goals in the 4th term. They currently lead East Perth by 10 points. Demons look like they're going to register their 2nd win of the season over East Fremantle and South Fremantle. Just 10 minutes into their game against Subiaco, still with a 31-point lead.
So after the ball was pinballed around the pack, the umpire's going to take it in on the near wing. About 5 metres from the boundary. Going up for it. Collected straight and put onto the boot off a step. Marks taken in by Smallwood. Smallwood's had a good 4th term. Umpire's seen something off the ball. So the umpire's going to take it, and West Perth have been...
I'm not sure what's happened there. And Bailey Rogers has just got smashed in the midriff. He's on his haunches. I'm not sure what's happened. So Rogers has it, counting his ribs at the moment. Ball will go out of play. I think the out of bounds on the full possibly was off hands or a free kick. I'm not.
We'll maybe check the replay later as we are just getting underway right underneath our broadcast position.
So ball tossed back in. One down by Buller, having a bit of time on the ball. That is straight up and down into the hands of the West Perth defender and Potente. Burke on debut. Bites off 40 metres with that kick across the corridor. West Perth player goes to ground, but it's going to work out okay. The 40-metre soccer into the mid-drift of Riddick. Riddick draws 2 defenders to West, looking to step onto that left foot. Back to Riddick. He swings it around to Keitel, but the ball took a back-spinning bounce, much like on the greens of Augusta. Came back into the hands of the Tigers defender. That's an interesting ball towards Lim. Gets thrown off the footy. Here comes Keitel. Kick well smothered. Still in dispute. Wilhelm's up there. He has to kick on the turn, and guess who? Probably best on ground, Martinez, with the intercepting mark. He's got 2 options in the middle of the 50-metre arc. And they look to slow it down through Lucy. Lucy out towards Eastland, looking for his 11th mark of the afternoon. Couldn't do so. That opened the door for Knott. Sets it up to Riddick, who flew. Finally got a bit of clean airspace. And good sportsmanship from Riddick there, just making sure his opponent was okay. But that was a good fly. He hasn't had, well, in fact, any of the Falcon forwards have really had any space or delivery or chance to run and jump at the football. So good job there from Claremont, but Riddick, can he cap what was a good springing mark? He does, and gets his first of the afternoon. 5th goal of the season. Originally from Midland Way with Swan Districts, and he has kicked 5 goals in season 2021. Pretty experienced campaigner. Game number 80.
Bolton's coming back out onto the field. Hasn't really been out there much today.
If you have a look at the experience-wise, I mean, Claremont, they've got a lot to look forward to, because you've got Kane Mitchell's played 130 games now. And you're looking at Ryan Lim's played 112, but no other player listed has played more than that. Then you have a look at West Perth. Black, 201 games. Manzoni, I know he's played 135 and a half now. Nelson's 168. Wilhelm's over 100. Shannon's over 100. Potente over 100. And also Keitel. But you would think, judging on just how they've used the ball and stood up when it's countered, that Claremont have got more experience out there today. Here come West Perth out towards Black. He's been fairly well held. Martinez, again, another hard ball get. He's been superb. Mitchell tries to meet his opponent head on. Martinez again, just plays tunnel ball, just wants to shovel the ball out, but the Falcons do well. They finally win that contested ball in the middle. Back to Keitel. Again, well guarded by the Falcons. Can he receive the hand pass? He does, but Smallwood corrals him. Out comes Knott. Drops the footy, regathers, hooks towards a dangerous position. Well done, Lim. Brought the ball to ground. Claremont with a kick out wide. The Claremont player just cramping up, trying to chase it down now is England. And he'll start heading towards the boundary, or maybe the interchange. He says he's okay. Maybe some electrolytes needed, but that ball was out of bounds on the full. They turn it over. West Perth will get the resulting free kick. They've called deliberate.
Oh, wow. So here we are, West Perth.
We've had a few...
Muns with the footy.
We've had some interesting decisions. Kept us on our toes today. It's been good.
Muns, the 70 gamer, boots it in, and that was a...
That's the only thing he's dropped today.
Yeah, Eastland's been solid as it gets kicked across. The handball goes out, and he managed to karate kick it out of the tackle there. Ball goes to ground now, spills out for Claremont after it was pinballed around, but it'll go straight in. The umpire will grab it.
Haven't had a chance to walk on the ground. There's some heavy divots today, but you'd see, from what my observations is, when this ground's under shade, it starts to get a little loose under the feet.
Yeah, right. I mean, speaking of Augusta, a few divots out on the ground. Ball goes into the edge of the centre square. Ball bounced around. Collecting it now is England. Been active in the fourth term. Moving it out of there was West. Ball was smothered. Good play there. Claremont collecting it along the ground. It was Eastland. The big ruck getting down low. Snap around the body was taken by Nelson. Claremont down in the back pocket with a big tackle. Ball spills out. Crumbing at his Claremont. Collecting his own footy was Mitchell. Really good job there. And now a snap around the body by Moulton after the intercept and after the turnover, and Claremont do a good job in the back pocket to stop that one on the line. They booted out to the near wing, and it was Morgan, the emergency.
Just while we wait for this ball in, just around the grounds, thanks to front row screens, have a look at Subiaco have kicked 2 unanswered goals in the fourth term. 15 and a half minutes played there. They've closed the gap now to 23 points against South Fremantle. So a little bit of a revival, and Swan District's clinging on by 11 points against East Perth, roughly halfway through the fourth term.
So it was nearly a mark taken by Alexandre, but the umpire is going to take it in after the ball spilled out. Was collected, sandwiched between
there are some sore bodies. Just having a look around the ground, there's a lot of players hobbling, and it's been a bruising encounter.
Yeah, they really left it all out there in the first couple of terms, I think, and now things have slowed down quite a bit as Martinez just chips that one forward. Rogers pushes it out. They've switched it to the fat side of the ground, Claremont, working it in to the top of right half forward. Went over the top of the pack, running onto its Mania. A snap across the face of the goal. Went through for a behind. So it looked like he was just trying to go for the setup kick in the goal square, and it just sailed through the right-hand side.
Just having a look at some of the numbers there. Lockie Martinez up to 36 disposals, tied for the lead in that category with West Perth Shane Nelson. Connor West to 31 touches, and Bailey Rogers has just snuck up with 28 touches along with 9 marks. 5 inside 50, so
ball's gone out of bounds.
Could be an interesting fairest and best count if this continues for Claremont towards the end of the year.
And the Rucks go up for it. Collected straight off it. Eastland grabbed it down.
Oh, that was a high shot.
Yeah, he got sandwiched in between the two players. Now West moving it out with the handball. Along the wings, West Perth trying to create something. Really good contested mark taken there by Keitel, who's been quiet this afternoon. But good to see him back in there. Kick over the top into a one-on-one, and he's grabbed it. Thought it might have been touched when he tried to pull it in.
I know it's junk time at the moment, and it's been a bruising and long game, but I mean, Keitel again, he took a contested mark, but it's in a non-dangerous area, so I think Claremont would live with that. It was a beautifully weighted pass, however, and it looks as though they're not going to get reward as it hooks across through for a minor score. Shutterguard scoreboard, 7-7 the Falcons, currently trailing the Tigers by 52 points, and we've almost ticked over the 22-minute mark. Martinez, that is touch number 37. Now to his partner in crime out on the far side of the ground. Mitchell demanding the football at 45 degrees and receives it. Kick mark game of Claremont now. back to Martinez. This will be touch number 38. High proportion of those are kicks. To Bailey Rogers. They move it laterally. Back inboard. They're just toying with West Perth tired bodies at the moment. It's almost piggy in the middle around the ground. Keepy's off. They could go again to Eastland. Mark number 12. No, not paid. No free kick forthcoming either. Coming through, trying to clean house there was Jai Bolton. Caught a couple of players quite high. Here come the Falcons. Can they rebound through the middle of the ground? West went without the football but kept his composure. 1-2s with Riddick. Stiff arms his opponent. Kicks up towards 50. No marks paid. Mitchell to Martinez. He's up to 39. Sweeping it wide. Transfers play out towards the outer side of the ground. The ball just had too much air on it and now tumbles out for a boundary throw-in. And Barton claiming to the umpire that he was held by the jumper. A couple of players stretching out cramps. Pretty hot today, getting up to 28, 29 degrees. Ball comes back in. West Perth. Got to keep in mind that they've been 2 bodies short for this entire fourth quarter. Not really giving up. Hand pass inboard. Back into the hands of West. 2-on-1. Favours the Tigers. They spoil each other. Moulton. Hand pass smothered. Jumped in a good tackle by Moulton was Davis, but again numbers. Eastland. Swinging left-hand hand pass to Mitchell. Plays it back over the top now to Martinez. That is touch 40. They can link up now. No one inside forward 50, but they've got the run on now. Now streaming back unguarded to the goal is Martinez. I don't think he's going to get it. In fact, no, that's the number 18, not the number 10, Patmore. But just the rebound, the run, good fitness levels. A lot of players with hands on head, down on haunches. But West Perth trying to throw everything at Claremont, just got caught on the rebound. And a chance for Buller, I think it is, on the outer side of the ground.
Buller. Took a really good mark there. It was like a wide receiver in the NFL.
So he kicked 1 in the first, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Can he make it 5? He does.
Yep. Solid there from Buller. Have really liked him this afternoon. That's his third?
Fifth game, fifth
His
goal.
Fifth, sorry, wow.
In his fourth game of
So in his fourth game of league footy, he's 5 goals, 4.
So he's averaging he's kicked 8 goals for the season in his fourth game. So he's averaging 2 goals.
Really been solid, Buller. They can work from this and continue to use him as a tall threat.
And serviceable on the ball too, because he can give Eastland a chop out, who's got a big tank by the looks of him. He's still on the ball at this stage.
So a lot of hands on knees at this point of the game.
Who's your tip for the Derby tomorrow?
The Western Derby, like the AFL, the Eagles, by the length of the straight. Well, I mean, I hope, but I'm very biased.
Swan District still ahead by 11 points over East Perth. In fact, they've just moved that to 13 points now. I think Perth is going to get home against East Fremantle.
So top of the forward 50 for for Claremont. They boot it straight back in, and something's happened here for the umpire to...
Just while there's a bit of lull in play, Luke, Subiaco 3 unanswered goals so far to just 1 behind in the fourth term against South Fremantle, who led at three-quarter time by 6 goals. Wow. So that margin's back to 17 points. So the Lions coming home with a wet sail.
So the Lions are going to face off against Claremont next week. So Claremont are going to be coming off a huge win. Lions might be a bit battered and bruised after that one, you'd imagine. So it's going to be a cracker next week between these two. Edge of the centre square, West Perth moving it through the corridor now, taking a bounce. Kick was a bit of a mongrel. Riddick puts it high up into the air. Was just 15. Booting it inside 50 into a contest. They went up hard for it. Bodies collide. Collecting it off the ground now. They could be a chance. A snap around the body, and it's not, putting it straight through the middle. A consolation goal for West Perth, but it was a good one.
It's what he does, and he's bookended his goals. So he had 1 in the first term, and one in the second. So dangerous at ground level. Replay thanks to CD Dodd, but have a look at this. Stepped onto the left and wheeled back around onto his right boot, and as soon as it left it, he knew it was going to sail through. So obviously missing Antonio this afternoon. West Perth, another goal kicker, and Keitel's been brilliantly held by the Claremont defenders. Tough to pick best on ground today, but Isaac Barton, 5 inside 50s, as has Bailey Rogers with his 30 touches. Lockie Martinez, 42 disposals, 9 marks. Back in the middle of Revo Fitness Stadium, perfect bounce. Eastland, another hit out, looking for Lim. Couldn't bump Riddick off the ball. His hand pass was errant. Back to Lim. Beautiful little hand pass out to Eastland. And congratulations must go to the Tigers. It was all one-way traffic, blue and gold, from quarter time. They turned a 12-point deficit at the first change into a convincing win. The Shutterguard scoreboard, 16-11 Claremont, 107, defeating an underman, it is fair to say, West Perth outfit 87-55. That margin, 52 points. The West on the screen there, gallant in defeat. It's a Claremont home team song loudly playing through the speakers. Kane Mitchell,
Best footy song in Australia.
he was influential.
He was, yeah.
Particularly in the second term when they turned around the fortunes of the Tigers along with Martinez.
Yeah, Mitchell was unreal. We're just having some issues with our stat sheet here, so we'll get back to that in a second. But yeah, all those players in the middle. Edwards, who we can see on the screen, was influential in this game as well. Really solid. But yeah, just as we take a look back at the leaders for disposals, Martinez ended up with 42.
Yep.
Leather poisoning today for him. Bailey Rogers ended with 30, and Mitchell ended with 27. That was on the Claremont side. Shane Nelson, Edgewater Woodvale Junior Football Club product, 39 disposals. Connor West with 35, and Aaron Black and Stephen Patente 25 apiece. So that's the leaders for the disposals. And we could just see there Hardesty on the screen. He kicked a goal. And there's Anthony Davis. And we'll bring you in to some highlights now, presented by CD Dodd. Thanks so much to CD Dodd Scrap Metal Recyclers for the replays. There's that terrific goal from Barton. The smallest man in the pack manages to take a step, unbalanced, bang it through. And here's one of the men of the match today, Jack Buller. Had 9 set shots on goal for 5 goals 4 in his first season of league footy. Really strong intercept mark taken there by the specialist, Dylan Smallwood. There's Rudy Riddick flying high, and the resulting goal that he nearly booted onto the blue train line. The big power forward for West Perth was held pretty well today, but that was a decent mark. Here's the big man again, Jack Buller. Only 19 Buller, turning 20 later in the month. And that was another one of his 5 goals. And we can hear the Claremont faithful in the background clapping their team off, and a second running of the song too. That was a really good snapshot on goal by Keegan Knott. 10 goals this year prior to this game, so that was his 11th. Only one for the afternoon. His second of the afternoon, so he'll move to our 12 goals on the year after that. And love to see my workplace being put up on the screen on the weekend, and we're back.
So it was all set up after quarter time for the Tigers. They had a 12-point deficit at the first change and then held West Perth to just 9 scoring shots. for the final 3 terms. So West Perth kicking 4 goals 5 to just peter out 55-point total, and Claremont really going on with it. 52-point win. Martinez, as we said, 42 disposals, 9 marks, probably best on ground. Rogers as well, 30 touches, 10 marks, 5 inside 50s. And the dominant big man on the ground, Eastland, 25 touches, 10 marks, 30 hit-outs and 3 inside 50s. As we can see, some very happy Claremont locals celebrating a good win. Just before we wrap up this afternoon, it is full time at Leederville Oval. Swan Districts has run out with over a gallant East Perth team that fought back in that second half, 68 to 55 the final score. Perth registering their second win of the season, bringing East Fremantle crashing back to earth, 74 to 44 with a 30-point margin. And South Fremantle have held on full time at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. They've won over Subiaco by 3 goals. So the reigning premiers are back on course for season 2021. If you're in the Peel region, get down to David Gray's Arena tomorrow for the bounce, 11:10 a.m. Peel Thunder and some of the Fremantle Dockers reserves taking on, obviously, the West Coast Eagles.
And then the big one straight after the Western Derby. Speaking of the majors, your Crows getting absolutely thumped today by GWS, unfortunately, 106 to 39.
Just adding to another cheap shot from our coverage today. Luke Worthington, thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, Matt.
Tremendous call. On behalf of the team here at Front Row Screens, thank you for your company. This is Matt Chechen signing off from Revo Fitness Stadium, where the Tigers roll to 4 and zip, round 5 of the OPTUS WAFL season. We look forward to bringing you more coverage next round. Have a great weekend.